Hey guys, how is everybody doing? So we're going to be watching day 3 of the ASAP Rocky Rakeem Myers trial. We left off yesterday on day 2 with the infamous, the famous now, whatever you want to call him, star witness, ASAP Relli, Terrell Ephron. Still going to be direct examinations. The prosecution's still asking questions. It's supposed to be a short day today, like 2.5 hours of court. So at the rate we were doing some storytelling yesterday with all these details, and the judge kind of made like a comment that Terrell Ephron, Relli's answers were non-responsive. I mean, who knows how long this direct might roll on for what was a very short incident. But who knows, maybe we'll get some cross today. If you guys are wondering, Nancy Dillon is reporting. No Rihanna today. No Rihanna, guys. No Riri. And again, that is Rihanna. So there you go, entering the courthouse not too long ago. And we are supposed to be getting started at 1 p.m. I just got curious. I wanted to look up stuff specific to California code. The two charges that ASAP Rocky is facing, we're dealing with aggravated assault with a semi-automatic firearm. I tried to find a copy of the accusatory pleading, so the indictment with the actual charges spelled out. I can't find that. If someone has a copy of that, I checked like Unicourt and Court Listener. I couldn't find it. I could probably put it a little more work to get an actual copy. But for me, if we're charging under 245B, under California Penal Code, that's specifying, and it should be in the pleading, semi-automatic firearm, right? So a lot of us were confused yesterday why the prosecution was touching on this revolver aspect. We got into it twice during direct examination. A revolver that would not, a typical model of revolver, would not leave behind shell casings, so maybe they thought it could be an explanatory, it could be a way to explain why shell casings weren't found by police, but then how do you explain Relli finding the casings? Well, anyway, that's a separate topic. My curiosity here is with this starter gun theory. If the accusatory pleading, if the charge includes that tack on of a semi-automatic firearm, I could be wrong, but I would assume that a starter, and this is why Joe Tacopina wants to push this argument, a starter weapon wouldn't be a semi-automatic firearm. And if we're accusing somebody of doing this thing, aggravated assault, with this aggravating factor, specifically with a semi-automatic firearm, that gives the defense a way to say, well, it wouldn't have been aggravated assault then because there's no semi-automatic firearm. And that's specifically what you're accusing us of in the indictment language, right? So I looked up some sample jury instructions. And again, since this is sample jury instructions, we won't know what the jury is going to be charged with. We don't know what the trial court, this judge, is going to send back to the jury as far as instructions, but we've got a template here that includes language that would be piecemealed to put together instructions for 245B. Again, ASAP Rocky is facing 2 counts, 245B. So not all of this text that's on the screen would be applicable to this, right? It's going to be piecemealed. But if we can work together with this, like we'll do casual exercise. I'm not a lawyer. I just want to understand things better. You know, we've got the defendant is charged in count, and there's going to be 2 counts, right? But they're both 245B, semi-automatic firearm. With assault, and then there's this language that could be included, right? So basically you'd swap out depending on what it was. Now this is where a question of a lesser included offense could come into play, but I've looked at some case law, and I think Joe Tacopina actually has a very good defense strategy avoiding the possibility of a lesser included of force likely, right? We know that Terrell Ephron's injuries are the scrapes on the knuckles, which typically would be consistent with simple assault under California Penal Code. We get to this this assault with a deadly weapon, because the state believes and is charging ASAP Rocky of having the semi-automatic firearm. If we don't have that aggravating factor, we don't have the injuries to demonstrate this aggravated assault. It would be simple assault, and that's a different charge. So as far as lesser includeds, I'm not sure we could just say, you know what, Judge, as the prosecutor, can we do some type of force likely to produce great bodily injury as a lesser included? From the prosecution standpoint, that could get around this, if the jury doesn't believe that what Rocky possessed was actually a semi-automatic firearm, well, can we send them back to consider force likely to produce great bodily injury? And I'm not sure we'd get there because I don't think we've seen evidence on the record or will see evidence on the record of something likely to produce great bodily injury. So, good stuff here, good stuff. And they've got these alternative languages here. To prove that the defendant is guilty of this crime, the people must prove that. And remember, this is dealing with force with a weapon. So, under what he's charged with, they would choose this language. The defendant did act with, and then they would choose blah, 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 that by its nature would directly and probably result in the application of force to a person. We would skip this part. That wouldn't be applicable. Next element. The force was likely to produce great bodily injury. The defendant did the act willfully. When the defendant acted, she was aware of the facts that would lead a reasonable person to realize that his or her act by its nature would directly and probably result in the application of force to somebody. And when the defendant acted, he or she had the present ability to apply force likely to produce, and this is where they have to choose the language that matches above. They're going to choose the semi-automatic firearm to a person. So, got to meet these elements. And 5, the defendant did not act in self-defense or in defense of someone else. Now, I'm not sure if this is language that's always included, but I know there are cases that I followed, and they weren't California cases, but this language could be there, and the defense, for example, could ask for this language to be included. And the judge can make a ruling, hey, yes, there's something to support this on the record of trial. We can charge the jury with this justification instruction. That's how it works in New York. In New York, there's case law, and court starting, we'll jump over there. But in New York, there's case law where even if the defense attorney fails to request this instruction, but there's apparent evidence on the record that somebody did something, in self-defense, right? That the trial court should still, sua sponte, issue a justification charge like this text line 5 here to the jury. So I'm thinking here, if we put all this together, especially if we were to get this number 5 instruction going back to the jury, to me, it makes Joe Tacopina's defense strategy super, super clear. It also explains why the prosecution keeps trying to ask Relli, was he pushing the gun up on you? Was he touching you? These questions help go to those elements that the prosecution needs to establish. So just thought that was interesting if you guys want to read it on your own. This is, again, just template language, California jury instructions on 245. And again, he's 2 counts, 245B is what he's charged with. And we'll get over there, you guys. Let's get this live. It just started. And make this big. Captions. There we go. Oh, he's here today too. Oh, they're muting us. All right, we can move forward. Well, that was anticlimactic. We are caught up and nothing's happening. So, but hey to everybody. We've got a good evening. So shout out to our folks in different time zones here. Hey to Rosalind. Shout out all the way back up here. Survivor Speaks, when you get in here, you have a wrench now. So big congratulations. You don't actually have to do anything, Madi, but in case you wanted to drop your link, it makes it easier for you. And I trust you. So big congratulations, but don't feel obligated to do any Madi things. Chad Diggy, good to see you. Chloe's ready for today. YP Kamshik has 32 degrees. Guys, it was 50 here, and it's 70 now. So I woke up this morning thinking it would be super cold, like soup weather. And now it's like, I don't even want to cook weather, so. 32 degrees is like crazy to hear now that I lived in Florida. But it's warm weather, I'm sure, for some people that live further up north. Skillet Pants says, sweet. One episode of anime, then trial again. You're budgeting your time. What are you watching? Destined to Be went grocery shopping for the chat yesterday, you guys. Shout out to Destined to Be. Hey to Positive Q. Always good to see ya. Shay says, I just watched the playback of yesterday. Child, I'm so ready for this to continue. This dude allowed his emotions to get so high that he restarted the situation. And that's the thing. I think it can be a very serious thing when there's a breakup or a falling out of platonic friends. It is really emotional, and emotions can drive people to do crazy, irrational things. And, you know, sometimes the best thing you can do, keep your distance, take a step back, put that space between yourself and others. I get in this situation, we've got 2 points in time where there's a tussle, then they separate, and the pursuit seems to be Relli doing the pursuit of ASAP Rocky. You know, I get you've got to just be prepared that even if you think you could separate yourself a few feet, maybe that person's still going to charge at you. It's just scary, the things that emotions can make people do in the moment. Shay also says, by his own admission, he followed behind Rocky after Rocky walked away. Right, and that's crazy. And again, I really, I hope this and in this sample language, I hope that this is just by default included, because, I think this is an important scenario for a lot of defendants that are in situations where they might be trying to get away. But who knows? I hear noise in the courtroom. Let me rewind. It's like the judge speaking from behind the seal.
There were 2 exhibits yesterday that Mr. Bozzone took with you to redact. Is that been done?
Yes. They were 12 and 13. I have the original, although I'd like to.
You guys are saying Riri is there? Or wait, they muted us again. They muted us again. Yep, okay, so Rihanna is there. Rihanna is there. Oh my god. Kathy Roussan is funny. Let's see. Well, since we're quiet anyway. So I have alerts on for Mel and Kathy Roussan and James Kuali, and they all happen to be talking about this trial, and it's like a wave of just tweets where they're like, ASAP Rocky's here, but no sign of Rihanna. Sorry, folks, guess we have to focus on the actual trial. Kathy's laughing, and then Mel came in with the repost from Megan saying, I just sat down, and Rihanna is sitting there in the gallery with Rocky's mom and sister. So there we go. Let's see. You think we'll get a camera angle, guys? And this is smart, right? It's going to be a short day. So
charts, diagrams, photographs, anything that is physical, in which he seeks to impeach Mr. Ephron once cross-examination begins. Did I correctly state that?
You did.
All right. And everybody's on board?
Yes, on board.
All right. Everybody ready for the jury? Where is it, Mr. Ephron? Mr. Ephron, go ahead and take a stand. Do you have your water bottle?
Do you have your water bottle? Put a 1 in the chat if you are not surprised to hear the word impeach. And we're muted again. Also, huge shout out, Mixed Chick Samantha in the building. Always love to see Mixed Chick Samantha, and super appreciative that she's gifting 10 memberships here. That's super nice. I see some love here in the chat for Mixed Chick. I'm using your full name and you took your name out. Sorry. Just going to call you Mixed Chick. My bad. We love Mixed Chick here. Super good to see you. Thank you so much. We'll get a little banner going. I've been trying to, all right, so from yesterday, we were at 3 objections with 2 sustained. And one of those sustains, that was when the judge was like, yeah, sustained, it's leading, and the answer was non-responsive. So there were like 2 objections. But the judge gave commentary after yelling at the attorneys not to give commentary. He's going on. So we will carry over this objection count because we're still on direct. And I'll update this. We'll get mixed chick here in the banner. Oh, we're on the Live View logo seal now. Oh boy. Rihanna's causing chaos in the courtroom, you guys. And new collective members. Day 3. Okay, so my banner should be up to date, hopefully with no errors. So there we go. You know, it's so... I really think it might be a distraction and a spectacle, but I think everybody will get it together and calm themselves down. Because if you're sitting there as a juror and you want to just keep things going, I mean, why would you act a fool, right? You're not going to act a fool because then what happens? You get the boot. So, yeah, Shayna says she better not get our live feed taken away. Can you imagine she gets like media permission? She can stream the trial. Yeah, K-Tally Pit Love. This is the thing. Why is he getting charged so aggressively for scraping? It's the firearm. The semi-automatic.
What happened immediately after? Yes.
Slide that mic over slightly. I know it's a little hard to hear.
I'm not sure, but it says check connection. There's.
Let me see if these are all they are. So
I can start if we can get the tech person.
Alex, can you get Mark up here?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, there's a red light on the side. Is it supposed to be green if it's
I'm not sure. Normally, the issue is just that it's not turned on, but I know it turned on because there was a box that popped up.
all right, we'll have Mark is the computer, the audio visual. We'll have him come up and take a moment. But in the interim, can we get started?
Absolutely. So we were talking about as the defendant was walking away from this parking lot, you said you looked over and you saw 12E putting a knife in his pocket, and then 12E walked after the defendant. Are you with me there?
Yes.
Okay, that's where I want to pick up today. You said at the end of your testimony yesterday, you talked about this being a white flag situation, and then you said that you were screaming out how Rocky had failed us. Do you recall that?
Yes.
What did you mean when you said that?
Like meaning.
What did
like,
you say?
I was just like, said something about 12E, I said something about Illz, I said something about just overall.
Can you say the words that you said to the best of your
I
relative?
don't really remember because
You don't remember
I
any of
don't
the
want
words?
to lie. I don't want to I just remember just 3 years ago. Like, if I look at my statement,
If you don't remember word for word,
I don't want to like
just
yeah.
give us the some substance of it.
When you said, I
Yes.
said something about 12E, do you remember at all what it was that you were talking about? I understand you
Probably in the
might not.
contents of him like like not having motion no more, like, you know what I mean? Because the whole thing was that I think the complex con, I don't think they even seen Rocky or did anything, to be honest. 12 was complaining about the dude, you know what I mean? Like 2 days prior when I seen him. So it was like, people wasn't happy.
When you say, did you say not having motion?
Yeah, but that's not his fault. It's kind of like,
No, Mr. Ephron, I'm just trying to understand. I just didn't catch the word. I wasn't sure if you said motion or emotion. You said not having motion, correct?
Yeah, so I'm telling him he's not what it seems to be. Like it's not. You're not like Instagram is just fake. Like you're back. You work construction. You went on tour for 6 years. Like
Okay.
I don't get
What?
it.
Were these some of the things that you were saying about 12E as
Yeah,
you were
because
walking
we're
down
a
the
brother.
street?
We're supposed to be
Okay,
lifting
hold
each
on,
other
you both
up.
can't talk at the same time. Ask the question again.
You wanna shut
Oh, okay, hold on, time. Mark, the monitor over here, can't get it to work. These are all on C. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Can you take a look, please? Yeah. So you can get it to work.
Can you see it on your screen, sir?
No, yeah. You know, if worse comes to worse, you can use mine and I'll just look at the worst. Because you can't get that film power.
Shout out to the tech crew getting it together.
It helps with the mystery. Mine went out too.
Not that there's any pressure on you.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, nobody's watching.
Mark, when we pushed it earlier, a
Sound
box
off?
popped up that said,
Okay. Yeah, right now it's not getting power.
All right, and now they disconnected the sound. Oh boy. Well, that's perfect time to shout out Chloe Albert's Revenge. Chloe's asking, is Relli left-handed or right-handed today? Right? Just go with ambidextrous. Just do both. It'll cover all bases. And thanks for the reminder. I guess we realized yesterday that that react feature with the animated emojis that goes across the streams for the chat, I can actually customize those. Creators can customize those. So we put the red and green lights in there. I also put a judge. And then I put a cry face because I don't know. It's been a time. It's been a time. So thank you so much for the super chat, Chloe, and for the reminder there. Those are customized, and it might be cool. We can customize those reacts for like whatever stream we're doing. We can do something that matches. So super cool. Well, I just updated it, Steph. So just updated. So, but yeah. And it's one of these things, guys. This is a crazy scenario where I think at the end of the day, everybody's lucky that nobody got seriously injured. I would say the best advice would be don't even arrange to have a meetup like this when someone's being emotional. Sure, you might not expect things to get amped up in any sort of way. But what if, for example, what if Illz, he apparently had a pocket knife according to Relli. We haven't heard Illz testify. Maybe he'll be called. But for example, I mean, what if ASAP went running and somebody else started to get wild? You know, you never know. Things can change in a second. But at the same time, the storyline, you know, the person charged here is ASAP Rocky, Rakeem Myers. What he's being charged with is these 2 counts of, like, it's aggravated because of this semi-automatic firearm. That's the specific language. So, is that really what happened? Did he meet all these elements of assault with a semi-automatic firearm? And, you know, we're not getting this idea that it's not really clear that Ephron, Relli, believed that somebody was reasonably going to hurt him. He pursued them. So, I don't know. Gary Gladden says, who you taking an IQ test, Detective Thorpe or Relli?
You were saying things about.
Honestly, I'd probably say Relli. I think he's emotional, but not necessarily stupid, just emotional, and emotional can make you stupid.
What's the question again?
What were the kinds of things you were saying about 12?
I was just saying, like, towards Rocky.
Towards 12. Let's start with 12 first.
I was kind of talking towards, like, Rocky, though, but after 12, but I was just like, he's not, like, where he's supposed to be. Illz is not where he's supposed to be, but that's not me saying that it was his problem. It was like, you got the foundation, you want to hold the rock, you know what I mean?
When you say not his problem, who are you talking about?
Rockies, but I said it because he's the one that's got all of us there for his shows, this and that, they're not giving credit when credit's due. So it's like, you know what I mean? When you go down the line, like what I said yesterday, it's only Barry, Ferg, and Rocky who's really successful, but when you really look at it, it's a lot of ASAP members. That's not his fault, but it's like, you give credit when credit's due. So that's pretty much what I was saying.
Okay. The comments that you were making about 12, were they negative comments about him?
I wouldn't say negative. I mean, yeah, like truthful, kind of, not truthful.
I mean, were you saying, have you said in the past that one of the things you said about 12 is that he went on tour with the defendant for 8 or 9 years, but he was still living in the projects?
I don't know if he personally was living in the projects, but I know he
did
went
you
back.
say
Yeah, I
that?
said that. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And about Illz, I mean, would you agree that that statement about 12 is not a positive statement?
No.
Oh, you would not agree?
I would agree. You're not positive, yeah.
Okay. And the statement that you were making about Illz,
Look at the judge.
do you remember the words that you said?
I just said he's a crackhead.
Okay.
Like, he's not, like, but nothing, like,
Would you also agree that's not a positive comment to make about Illz?
yeah, I agree.
Would you, were you directing your comments at the defendant, or were you saying each of these things to 12B and to Illz directly?
I was just saying, in general, like, everybody, we're right next to each other, everybody can hear, you know what I mean? So it was just trying to, like, still back me up, like, yo, chill, you know?
Okay. I believe you said yesterday at the end that you were trying to verbally express how you feel. Is that
Mm-hmm.
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I felt like I'm never going to see Rocky again due to the circumstances, so I'm just going to let him know how I feel.
Can you explain that to the jury more? When you say, I know I'm never going to see Rocky again, what is that?
I mean, the circumstances, I mean, the situation that happened. Like, why would we ever see each other? You know what I mean? So I felt like I didn't want him to go back and then talk about it and everybody just laugh and think, oh, Rocky just pulled the gun on Rel, shot it. Well, before then, he didn't shoot yet, but pulled the gun on Rel and made this big scene. You know what I mean? So I'm like, bro, I know him 15 years. I know everybody over there, just about 15, just not Jamel, but Illz. I know for like 15 years.
I believe you said yesterday that when you went into this, what you called linking up with him, it was to repair things with him, correct?
Yeah, it is.
After he pulled the gun on you, how were you feeling at that point?
I mean, he grabbed me first, so that everything, all bets is off the table. Like, I'm thinking, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I mean?
How are you feeling now?
Oh. Wait, what you mean?
How are you feeling after having this, after he pulled this gun on you?
Oh, I was like mad. I was like, I can't believe this just happened. You know what I mean?
And was there anything else about the presence of Illz and 12 being there that contributed to you being mad?
No, like them being there, like, just got me mad, even?
Did that change anything, the fact that the two of them came
No,
to
not at all.
All right. At that moment, immediately after the gun was first pointed at you, as the defendant is walking away, did you have any animosity towards Illz?
No, I never had a problem with it.
But didn't he just say he called Illz a crackhead?
That both you and Illz then walked down the street following after the defendant, but the two of you were walking together, correct?
I mean, it wasn't really following nobody, I'm just talking. We're all walking together, you know what I mean?
But you're headed in the same direction
Yeah,
that he's
he's down
headed.
Argyle, yes,
And he's ahead of you, correct?
yes.
All right. So as the defendant got to the street, the street corner at the end of Argyle, where did he go?
I think he made a left on that street, he made a left.
Do you remember the name of the street?
No, I'm not proud of him.
Okay. And when he made a left, where did he go from there?
He kept going straight till he got about to the street, to the end of the street corner. Like where the stop sign is at.
Were you still behind him at that point?
Yeah,
Still walking in the same direction that he's walking?
yeah.
Now, from what you've described, going down to the end of the street, making a left, and going all the way to the stop sign, at that point, you knew he had a gun, correct?
Yeah, I think he had a gun.
He had just shown it to you.
Yes.
And was it that entire walk, that entire time that you were expressing to him how you feel?
Yes.
In what you already described as an angry tone or an elevated tone?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Why would you follow behind someone that you know is armed with a gun and verbally tell them how you feel in the way that you did?
I told you already because I felt like I would never see him again. And I felt like since he put it away in one of the busy streets in Hollywood, like he's definitely not going to shoot this shit. I mean, shoot it.
So you, at that moment, did not believe that he would shoot you? That
No.
Yeah. Did you believe at that moment that he would shoot you?
What do you mean? Can you say it again?
The way that I asked the question before was a double negative, so your answer's not clear. So I just want to ask you a different way.
It's your fault.
Did you believe at that moment that he would shoot you?
At what moment when I'm walking with him?
When he's first walking away and you're walking in the same direction that he's walking?
No. Well, I don't know. To be honest, I wasn't thinking straight at that moment. I had a lot on my mind.
You weren't thinking straight.
Get what was on my chest off.
Prosecutor
Do you
stepped
think
in
you
his
would
own
have
rake.
reacted differently in this situation had that been a stranger that had first walked into you?
What do you mean?
Meaning, if a stranger pulled a gun on you, do you think you'd walk after them and essentially?
No, because I have no business. I mean, I got away from a life-threatening situation. But in that situation, I felt like maybe he put the gun away, and seeing Jamel with the knife, it furthered me wanting to say what was on my chest.
Okay. When you got to the area where the stop sign was that you described, you made the left turn, you walked to the stop sign, that's what you said, right?
Yes.
Who was the first person that got to where the stop sign was?
Rocky.
And then who was the next person?
Jamel.
And then after that?
It was basically like me and Dale. It was kind of...
And when you got to the stop sign area with Illz, what was the next thing that happened?
I'm still talking, but then I see Rocky turn around. Can I explain what happened?
Yes.
So I see Rocky turn around. When he turned around, he was like, it kind of looked like a movie. The whole thing looked like a movie, like, you know what I mean? So he kind of like pointed down. He shot the first shot. When he shot the first shot, I felt my hand hot. So I grabbed Illz, used him as a shield. He's going around trying to shoot me between the Illz. 12B is off to the side. I'm not really worrying about him. I'm just trying to like not get hit at this point.
The deadpan stare after he says that.
You said, as you were saying that he had the gun out, you had your right arm extended about shoulder high. Is that
Yeah, because he kind of like when he turned around, kind of like his back was turned, like it was kind of like just you turn around, the gun's there, you kind of jumped when he shot, and kind of shot down, like, you know what I'm saying?
The gun that
So
he
why
was
weren't there
holding, did it
defects?
look like the same gun that he pulled on you at the parking lot?
Yeah.
Hold on. This is, again, so bad for the state's theory. They tried to give this excuse where, hey, there was traffic driving by. You searched, you didn't find any defects on the cars in the parking lot, but it could have been someone driving by. And now you're tussling, you're using someone as a shield, and Rocky's shooting anyway, but he's shooting like a movie shooting down. Where's the defect? Where's the casing? Where's damage to the cars in the parking lot and the surrounding area? Because you're not shooting outward anymore. It would have gone down and probably ricocheted up and hit something. So where is it? Where is it? This is problematic, and this is the prosecutor's fault, because listen to how much dead time he's giving. Ephron gives these long, confusing answers, and then the prosecution can't control this witness, rein them back in. There's like dead silence every time Ephron stops talking. I bet a different prosecutor could probably work differently with this, but here we go.
And when you say he shot down, what do you mean by that?
Like, I mean, like it was kind of like this. It wasn't like pointing and doing, but it wasn't like aiming at you. It was kind of like that. So he, like I said, it was like a movie kind of like, boom.
Getting more steep with his angle.
Kind of like get me.
Okay, the motion he made with his arm, Your Honor.
Describe.
Yeah, so he had his arm extended out, and then as he was saying shot down, he lifted his arm up to about head high, and then had his pointer finger sort of pointed forward but in a downward trajectory.
Hand was higher than
Well, I don't really remember, but from what it was more like it was fast. He turned around, and then it was like boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he could be trying to pick his battles. He could be trying to pick his battles, right? Like, the prosecutor could be saying, look, we'd rather embrace evidence on the record that's showing ASAP was shooting down at you and not maybe shooting up in the air to firing a warning shot, right? But you have this shell casing issue that you know the defense is going to harp on, and you're allowing him to demonstrate several times now, pointing straight down. And yes, bullets can ricochet, they can go all over, but you have 7 officers responding to make sure Hollywood and Vine and the surrounding neighborhood is well protected and nobody has property damage, and they don't find these casings. And you're eliminating the idea that it could have gone off further in the distance with a direct straight shot outward. So the battle, I mean, maybe neither of these two things are great battles to be picking when the defense is making the argument that they're going to make. I don't know. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide what you think.
As he shot the gun the first time, you said your hand felt hot, correct?
Yeah.
Where on your hand felt hot?
My left hand.
Where?
Left hand. Just right above my knuckles. Like my knuckles right here, below my knuckles. So it's right here. And if I was to fall, you would see other injuries on that picture from that day from my knuckles and all around here. That's why. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, yeah. I'm just have to, when you point this up, I have to describe it.
so my knuckles,
what he's
I still got
pointing
the
to
mark from that day.
What he's pointing to are the middle knuckles on his left hand. He has his hand sort of curled and going across.
Yeah, right there. So it's
Hold on. Both can't talk at the same time. So wait. Go ahead.
I think I was done. He motioned with his right hand across his left hand middle knuckles.
Ask another question.
You said that you then got behind Illz, correct?
I dashed to him. I got ran to him and then just grabbed him.
How did Illz react to this?
Oh,
React.
He was like petrified. He was screaming. After he literally said, "You could have got me killed." And I said, "What? You came with him?"
Wait, I want to stay right at that moment, though. I don't want to jump ahead. So right at that moment, you're saying he was petrified, correct?
Petrified.
Physically, what did he do? Did he move at all?
He was petrified. I grabbed him, and he's like screaming, "No, no, no!" And using him every which way.
When you say petrified, though, is he moving at all, or is he standing still?
Yeah, he's trying to move, and then he dropped his body.
Okay. And were you intentionally trying to position Illz between you
Oh
and
yeah,
the defendant?
yeah.
Okay.
Anybody that would have been there, I would have did that, especially if we came with him.
And then, Relli, or Jamel, what did he do?
I don't know because I'm too busy grabbing Illz. I don't really see what 12 is. He's off to the side. I see him off to the side the whole time, but I don't really know what's going on. I don't even see them running off really. Like, I'm still dealing like with Illz literally telling me I could have got him killed while I'm just running off.
Right.
Just running off.
I don't want to jump ahead. I want to stay right at the moment when the shots are fired. Are you saying as the defendant fires the first shot, you then move around to Illz? You're not paying attention to 12, so you're not entirely sure what he did?
No, I'm not really sure what 12 was doing.
Okay. Then after the first gunshot, what did you see the defendant do? Physically, what did he do with his body?
Oh, he's running up, and he shot again.
What is running up mean?
Like he's running and shooting. Like he's trying to find. He's trying to look for a way to shoot because if I wasn't grabbing the Illz, I mean.
Did he physically come closer to you?
Yeah.
And
he got close.
you're saying
The whole time it was close, but he got really close.
you were saying that he was trying to move motion around Illz, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna move to some video again.
Is this a new exhibit or?
No, same exhibit. It is People's 15.
Right, can we pause on this timeline? So he was saying he felt the heat on his hand, right? This is a court assistant, a judicial assistant. I think his first name is Alex. It says A as his initial, the guy with the shades back here. But yeah, so there's these two important scenes, right? There's the parking garage where we see like the video with like the shoes and like they come into frame for a second or two. And then there's like the parking lot, the car lot, and the road that they end up like sort of tussling and running and separating on. Now, this first part, we had Relli testify that he saw Illz putting a knife back in his pocket. So he already knew at that point in time, at the first place, that Illz, according to him, had this knife. Now we're moved on to the second place. He's already said he felt the heat on his knuckles, which means he should have already been shot by Rocky at this point in time. He only ever claimed 3 or 4 shots. He found 2 casings. But if he got shot at this point in time, Rocky's now running away, and Relli's now running and attacking, grabbing Illz, who's petrified. What is now the timeline of the shots if Relli's again saying Rocky's running and shooting backwards? Like, is that supposed to be shot 3 and 4 where there's no casings for those? Or maybe we don't know which 2 shots these 2 casings that were recovered belong to. To me, it seems like the timeline was shifted, but the problem with that is you have this 911 caller witness from the balcony window saying that the shots that she thinks she heard because of the sound and seeing a flash were down when all 4 of them were still in a close tussle together in the car lot. She doesn't say anything happened after that, but now he's saying that there were extra shots after. How do you reconcile that? And like, look, witnesses don't remember things, right? But when you keep trying to volunteer information instead of just not knowing and you're shifting important details, That's a problem. That's a big problem. And Jason's reporting, he's reporting that the jurors are writing down notes on this stuff.
What I have on the screen is
All right, maybe 12 you have the
file
knife?
that's labeled sequence surveillance video from People's 15. I have
What,
it
both?
right now on the video player at the bottom. It's paused at 31 seconds into this video file. And it stopped there. Mr. Ephron, do you see the larger video in the background?
Yes.
Mostly gray.
Yes.
Do you recognize that area that we're looking at there?
Other than that day,
All right, I'm talking specifically about that day. Can you orient yourself on what you're seeing from that part of the video?
I mean, to the far right, that's where the curve is at. That's where the curve is at, and the stop sign where like the incident happened.
Can you point to it with the pointer?
So pretty much we walked right here, and Rocky got to like right around.
Keep your voice up.
I said we got to like right here, and then as soon as like he got into the street around right here, that's when the shooting took place.
Okay, I would say he's pointing to the top left-hand corner in where the street area is that we can see. Okay.
Right, that is across from that orange wall barricade there, where that is.
That's right.
All right, I'm going to play the video, and then I'll go back and ask some more questions about it. All right, Mr. Ephron, you can watch. I'm going to pause it at 55 seconds. Go back. I'll ask you some questions. So let's start at the beginning, Mr. Ephron. I know it's going to be hard to see from here, but from taking you back to that night, you see the person that we can see best at the top left-hand corner, kind of in the middle of that street. You see that person?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Rocky.
Okay. There's another individual.
Well, with the red jacket.
Okay. Let me just finish the question though, because the court reporter has to take everything down. So that would be just above him and maybe just slightly to the left. There's another person there. You're saying that's Jamel?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you and Illz, at this moment, are the two of you at the street corner?
I don't know. It's kind of blurry.
That's
Yeah, I can't really see that. That's a hydrant or like people that can't really see.
That's right. Let me play it forward a little bit. If you could watch them. But with that, as your memory from that day, would that be the area that you recall being at?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play it forward just a little. Did you see the movement of those two people that I was pointing to just a few seconds ago?
Wait, go back.
Sure. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Was one of those individuals you?
Yes.
And the other one was Illz?
Yes.
And what motion did you see yourself take on the video?
Like running towards those.
Okay. Would you have been farther to the left-hand side of the screen just slightly?
Yeah, I'm on the left. It was to be on the right.
And, okay. Then, we go back just a little. Start again at 35 seconds. The person that we see moving forward, is that still the defendant?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like running around Illz at that point while Rocky's like, it's like a circle. Everything's happening like a circle.
I'm gonna go back and restart at about 35 seconds. Can you focus? This time I'm gonna ask you to focus on the person who said he's 12 feet and tell us where you see that person go. Okay? All right, and I'm pausing it at 42 seconds. Where did you see 12 feet go?
He ran across the wall.
Okay, I have paused here at 42 seconds. Would it be this person here?
Yeah. Yes.
And do you remember what this area was at all? I know it's been
No idea. No idea.
okay. But was there a wall here? Is that what this
Yeah.
white object
Yes.
is? All right. Did he make that motion right as the gunshot started happening?
Yes, he did.
I'm going to play it forward. And I'm going to stop it at 50 seconds. If you need me to go back, I will, but did you see what you and Illz were doing at that part that I just played? That's short.
I'm gonna go back. I was looking at Jamel still.
No, that's fine. Started back at 47 seconds. Oh, hold on. Take it a little farther. Started at 42 seconds. Stop it at 51. Did you see what the two of you were doing?
Yeah, so after Illz dropped his body, I probably was just looking to see where he was before I just run off or continue back down like Hollywood where I was at before.
Okay. When you say Illz dropped his body, what do you mean by that?
Like he physically just dropped, like his weight.
Did you do anything to push him to the ground?
No, no,
Did
no,
you strike him?
no, of course not.
Did you throw any punches towards him?
No.
So, are you describing him essentially dropping his body to try to get away from you? Because you're trying to hold him?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Did you personally go to the ground as he dropped his body?
Yeah, that he dropped. So I like kind of dropped with him. You could see me like almost drop, but looking back to see kind of.
All right. And then fair to say at that point, that's when the defendant was running
Yeah, you
away?
could see Jamel like pushing him away at that point.
I wish we could watch.
Let's play another video file. All right, Aaron, this video file is called Combined Surveillance Video.
Part of 15?
Yes, on the same drive. And right now I have paused at 46 seconds. Mr. Ephron, would you agree this appears to be the same camera angle?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play it forward. And I'll pause it in a second. I'm going to pause it at 54 seconds. Does this look like a zoomed in version of that, in that area where you're describing this interaction happened?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play the video forward from here. I'll ask you some questions. Okay. going to stop it at 1 minute, 16 seconds. I want to go back to asking a few follow-up questions.
I'm gonna go back and lead you with a few more questions.
Okay. What exhibit this is?
It's 15.
Blow up.
The video is called Combined Surveillance Video. So if you want to see, there's
Not the sequence.
there's sequence, there's combined, and then there's the 3 files.
They're all part of it.
Yes.
This one's combined surveillance video.
Yes.
Combined. Okay, thank you.
All right. Starting at about 50 seconds. Zooms in. Again, just so we're all on the same page of who we're talking about, where it's paused at 55 seconds here. This individual here in the sort of in the middle of the street area, that's the defendant, correct?
Yes.
The person just to the left of him and slightly above him?
Jamal.
Okay. And then it's hard to see where you and Illz would be, but would you agree you'd be,
Wait, don't, you both can't talk at the same time.
that's okay. You'd be towards the left here, more closer to the corner of the street, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to play it forward and I'm going to pause it at 1 minute and 2 seconds. Can you make out which person you are, Mr. Ephron?
Right in this picture?
Yeah, where it's paused here at 1 minute and 2
I know one
seconds.
with the white Air Forces. It's really hard to tell but the white Air Forces. Oh, I love it. I can see it better on here than on the big screen for some reason. But on here, over here it looks way better.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm in this figure, whatever this is right here, but on here you can actually see it more.
Can you actually see on your back, Mr. Ephron, the design that was on the back of your sweatshirt?
Yes.
Okay. In that video, if you point to where the design is, if you can see it on the big screen.
White.
So it's saying right in the middle of the top of the where the image is paused on.
To be precise, it looks like a white circle on your body.
Okay. And I'll play this video over here.
I don't know, maybe it's a little clearer in person. You know?
And we stop it at 1 minute and 14 seconds. At this point, have you and Illz separated from each other?
Yes.
Hey, Kim
And why
Possible.
did you let him go at that point?
Because I've probably seen Rocky running off already.
Okay. You described the first shot, the motion the defendant made with his hand as he shot the first shot. Was the second shot any different from that?
I don't know at that point. I'm ducking.
You weren't really paying attention to
So
him?
no, I just was really just trying to grab Illz.
Okay. 1 second. Do you recall? I'm going to show you Illz 7. Do you recognize that area at all?
Yeah.
And what is that area?
That's what happened.
Okay. Where the 2 shots were fired, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You say yes?
Yes.
When the shots were first fired, can you point for the jury to a spot that is near where you were on that street?
I was coming down here, and I probably got to around like right here, I believe, and Rocky was like right here,
Okay.
and it got like around, then it got all around this area.
You know, Your Honor, actually, I think what may be easier, I'm going to have him just mark on the photograph itself. This is people 7. Let's do, for you, can you put an X where you would be when the first shot would happen?
probably hop off the curb a little, but I would say like what you're saying.
Okay, and then do a triangle for where the defendant was. Okay. Hey. Back up. Okay, a little better. The X you made is right here, correct?
Yes.
And fair to say that it was closer to the curb,
Yes.
and where you're describing was right by the corner, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And then the triangle that you made for the defendant is here more in the middle of the street on Vista Del Mar, correct?
Yes.
Okay. As the defendant was shooting at you, was it your belief that the gun that he was using was a real gun or a fake gun?
Can you say that again?
Yeah. Did you believe, as the defendant was shooting at you, that he was shooting a real gun or a fake gun?
Oh, it was a real gun.
And what led you to believe that it was a real gun?
I mean, I was hit. I was hit.
Is there anything else about it?
When you know the difference between, I mean, I don't know how would you, somebody shooting at you, I don't know how to answer that, kind of.
Okay. Sir.
And I wasn't, like, I was grazed, I wasn't hit, I didn't have a hole through my hand or nothing. It was just like, that's what it was, you know.
At the moment that he first started firing at you, what would you estimate would be the distance between the two of you? And if it's easier to point to something in the courtroom, you can do that.
From the first shooting,
Yes.
probably like where I'm at from where you at, probably, I guess. Or a little bit further, I don't know.
This is, you mean where Mr. Krzyzewicz is standing?
Yeah.
It's approximately 15 feet from where he's standing.
Okay. By the time he fired the second shot, what was the
Like a
distance?
little further, like a little, it was, yeah, around there. Yeah.
Sorry, which shot were you talking about?
The first one, it was like 15 to like 15, maybe around there, yeah. 3 years ago.
You said on the second shot that he moved a little closer to you. What would you estimate would be the distance of that one?
Oh, he was right up on us. I'm saying us because it was me and Illz. And I thought it was a bunch of shots because I'm just trying to like, you literally just duck underneath Illz, do whatever. Which way he was going, I'm putting Illz towards him.
How many shots did you believe that he fired at you?
At the time, I believe it was 3 or 4.
In fact, when you reported this to the police, how many shots did you tell them that he fired at you?
I believe 3 or 4.
And did you tell that to multiple police officers?
I did.
Was there anything that happened after you reported this to police that caused you to change your opinion on how many shots he fired?
No.
So you still, as you sit here right now, is it your testimony that he fired either 3 or 4 shots at you?
I mean, I've seen the video, so I understand it was 2 shots now.
That's what I mean. Okay, so as you sit here now, it's your belief he fired 2 shots at you, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But when you initially reported it, you reported it as
3 or 4 shots. Yeah. Because it sounded like that. We're in like a closed, it's real loud. You know what I'm saying?
You said that what changed your opinion was that you watched a video, correct?
Oh yeah, the preliminary hearing
Okay.
was the first time I seen the actual like
Joe?
the sound of the shots.
Your Honor, with the court judicial notice that the preliminary hearing was November 8th of 2023?
I don't have the transcript. Does everybody agree that was
That's
there?
right, yes.
Okay. So between the date of this incident, November 6, 2021, to November 8, 2023, in those 2 years, you believe that it was 3 or 4 gunshots, correct?
Yes.
And then after you watched the video that had sound, after preliminary hearing, you changed you understood then that it was 2 gunshots, correct?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, truthfully, I thought it was way more, but I'm going off of the video because mentally I thought I got shot at a lot of times.
Okay. If you can, just clarify for us, when you're referring to something, if it's based on your memory or from watching the video. Can you do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now I'm going to have to mark my next thing.
17.
Showing you what's marked as People's 17. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yeah.
And what is that?
That's my left hand.
And do you know who took this picture?
Probably was off my phone.
This is a picture you took.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know when you took this picture?
Probably the day after or the day, that day.
So you're thinking either November 6th or November 7th?
Or 8th. I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. Somewhere within a day or two of the actual shooting.
Yeah.
And the red marks that we see on your pointer finger, middle finger, and slightly on your ring finger there, what caused those injuries?
A graze, I believe.
I believe.
I said I felt something hot. And if I was to pull on my hand, I'm not no expert or anything, but if I were to pull on my hand or anything, my knuckles at the top would be messed up and everything else would be messed up. It just was right here.
Okay. So
And
you're
I
saying,
weighed 210 pounds. Probably at that time I weighed 190. So if I'm falling on my
He doesn't
weight,
know.
my whole knuckle would be damaged on my whole hand.
Ron, can I just ask you a response to the question? What's the cause?
Yeah, that was a non-response.
when you say grazed, are you talking about grazed from one of the bullets?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on.
It's going to be a leading objection, but it's getting worse.
What do you mean when you say grazed?
Like, when he shot the first shot, I felt my hand hot because I felt like I got grazed.
By what?
A bullet.
Thank you. After the second shot, so after the shooting, where did you see the defendant go?
I just ran after it. I just grabbed it.
But where did you see the defendant go?
After the shooting or while he was shooting?
After the shooting.
Oh, I seen him leave. Like, I think he just took off.
Okay.
And he ran.
And did he run out of your view? So you lost sight of him?
Yes.
Where,
Rocky.
after he took, was he the first one?
Look at his eyebrow. He's
I
like,
don't know. I don't
Did
know.
you see at some point, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Did you see at some point 12 English?
It was 3 years ago. I really don't really remember that. I just remember what happened to me. Like all the small pieces, it's kind of hard to like remember unless I have something physically or I said something around that time to remind me.
Was there a moment after the shooting where it was only you and Illz who were left on that street together?
Probably for like a second. He was still getting up or he was ready to run.
Okay. After Illz went to the ground, what was the next thing that happened?
I think they took off. Like 12 and Rocky took off, and then I'm probably like scanning the area to make sure he's still not there or shooting at me. And then I took off back the same way that I came and went down Hollywood back to the Lowe's.
When you say the same way you came, are you talking about the same streets that you walked?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would have been headed back towards the W Hotel in that area?
Yeah, correct.
And then did you walk all the way up to Hollywood Boulevard?
Yes, I did.
And from Hollywood Boulevard, did you walk all the way back to the Lowe's?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
In the time after the defendant and 12E ran away, where it's just you and Illz, I know you say it's a second. Was there anything that happened between you and Illz at that time?
No, the only thing Illz said, and I put that on everything on whatever it was, but he said, you literally almost got me killed. And I looked at him and said, what? You came with him. That was the only thing that was said between me and Illz.
So there was a brief conversation?
Real brief.
Did you physically assault him?
No, never hit Illz. Never. And Illz actually has a broken jaw. Like, he cannot get hit in the face. He has like a wired jaw because Rocky's cousin broke his jaw.
Okay.
Don't know how to check as a stricken, not responsive.
And testimony is true.
Right, they're striking that from the record. Jury heard it.
We'll read the question, please.
Did you physically assault him? The question is, did you physically assault him?
Yeah, that calls for yes or no. Did you physically assault him?
No. Illz, no.
That night, November 6, 2021, did you know of any physical sensitivities that Illz had?
Excuse me?
Yeah, did you know that Illz had suffered an injury before November 6, 2021?
Did I know that?
Hold on.
You can answer.
Did I know he had like a permanent broken jaw?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We go back briefly to the surveillance video. Let's stay with this same file, Your Honor.
15 on 15?
Yeah, but the file labeled combined surveillance video. Briefly. The video paused at 2 minutes and 47 seconds. If you could watch it, I'll play it. I'm going to play a couple seconds and then I'll go back and ask you a question, okay?
Yes.
All right, I'm pausing it at 2:54. So let's go back to 2:47. I'll pause it here at 2:48. Do you see the individuals at the sort of towards the bottom right-hand corner of the screen there?
Yes, I do.
You see the person who's walking in front appears to be wearing a black sweatshirt, and the person behind has a red jacket on.
Yes.
Do you recognize who the person in the black sweatshirt is?
Yeah, it's Rocky.
And who's the person in the red jacket?
Jamel.
say Janelle, that's the person you also refer to as 12, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Last person I want to show you on this video, have it paused at 3 minutes and 51 seconds. You see there's only one person depicted in the video here, kind of in the middle of the screen.
Yes.
Do you recognize who that person is?
Yeah, that's Elijah.
And same person you've also been referring to as Illz.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. You mentioned that in your testimony just before that you have watched the surveillance video as part of this case, correct?
That's right.
At least some of it. Is that
Yes.
correct? Do you know when you first reviewed any surveillance video in this case?
I believe the DA called me to identify in a video if that was Rocky and like the first shooting. But I think that was it.
Okay. Did you meet with police officers before you met with any deputy DAs associated with this case?
What do you mean?
Yeah, did you meet with police officers or police detectives before you talked to any prosecutors?
No.
The first person you talked to in this case was a prosecutor?
Oh, no, I talked to the police, I believe. Yeah, the police.
All right. When was the first time that you talked to the police? You don't have to give us a date, but you can say it was.
No, give us a date.
I came to a lawyer and walked into Los Angeles Police Department.
How close in time was that to the shooting?
Well, I hit up a lawyer the same night, but it was late, so he advised me I forgot what it was he advised me of at that time, but then I ended up going back and getting the actual bullets myself.
Okay, hold on.
And taking pictures of the cameras.
How many, I guess my question is, are you talking about you went to the police within minutes, hours, days, weeks, months? Can you give us just a time period?
No, so I had to wait for the lawyer, and then I sent them everything that I like, the text messages, everything.
You're not answering my question.
Oh.
Give us just a time period. Don't tell me what you did. Just say it was within hours, minutes, days, months. How soon after this?
Did I go to the police station?
Yes.
The next day.
Okay. Did this incident happen late at night on November 6th, correct?
I would have to see.
Well, it was dark out.
Yeah, I know it was late, but I don't, like I said, it was 3 years ago. I don't remember the dates, and I don't remember the streets at this point. I just remember what happened.
That's fair. But when you say the next day, is it possible that instead of being on the 7th, it was on the 8th that you went to the police department?
Yeah, so pretty much I was just waiting for the lawyer to respond back. So I had my business partner.
State, it's not responsible.
Okay.
Can we get grounds for when he makes
It's
it?
not responsible.
Could we have the defense state grounds instead of just objection when they? Just
Well, response.
I was asking the future.
I thought you said, did you say not responsible?
You just said objection.
Just objection. I thought it was pretty obvious that it was not.
Can we just ask in the future that he?
If you decide has to object, just say objection and the legal basis.
Thank you.
Okay. So the first time you reported this to the police, you say was within a day, either November 7th or November 8th of the shooting, correct?
Yeah, so pretty much I just wanted to wait for my lawyer.
That's just a yes or no, please.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, when you reported this to the police, how did you do that? Did you call 911? Did you call the station? Did you go to the station?
No, we just walked in.
Oh, do you remember which police station you walked into?
I forget what it is. Hollywood, or like, I know it was, Hollywood police station. I don't really remember.
And was there a police officer at the front desk that you talked to?
Yes.
And did you tell that police officer essentially what had happened during this incident?
I did.
After you talked to that police officer, did you talk to another police officer from that same station after him?
I don't remember.
Okay. Ultimately, did you meet
I
with
talked with so many people, like the lawyers, like with everything. It was just, I don't remember.
That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to unpack here now.
Okay.
So you talked to a police officer at the station. Did you then talk to a detective?
I think a detective came out because once I handed him the bullets, I think that's, and he seen the lawyer I was with, I think that's when he took it serious and like had somebody come out. I think I remember clearly.
Did you later talk to another set of detectives after that first detective that you talked to?
Man, they called me so many times, I don't even remember.
Is it fair to say you talked to a number of people about this incident from the police department?
Yes.
Okay. Did all of those conversations that you're talking about so far occur before you watched the surveillance video in this case?
It happened before I watched it.
So had you seen the surveillance video when you walked into the Hollywood police station to talk to the officer at the desk?
No, I didn't see no video.
When the detective from the Hollywood station called you, had you seen the video at that point?
I think they called me into LA, I forgot when, to identify. I think it was like, seriously, like 8 months later or 7 months, I don't remember, it was a long time.
So was it police officers that showed you the video for the first time?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. But had you already told what had happened before watching the video?
Yeah, yes.
As you sit here right now, do you remember the date that you first saw the video?
No.
And the video that you watched first, do you remember what was in the video that you watched?
It was the one of Rocky coming up to me and brandishing a gun, like where we had like the first initial, like when we see each other.
Outside of the parking garage?
From the, yeah, up front of the parking garage, across from the W.
Okay.
And I think they showed me the other one too of the parking lot. That was so long ago. I was just happy that they had the footage of the one at that time. I was just like, I think that's enough.
So when you say the other one, are you talking about the sort of blurry distance one that we just went over?
Yeah, yes.
Did they, if you remember, did you see any other videos?
I don't think so. They didn't show me a lot.
Did they show you the video that I played at the end there of the defendant and 12E walking up the street?
No, they didn't show me none of that.
Okay.
I think they only showed me 2 videos, which was Rocky with the gun and then the actual like shooting taking place. Everything else they didn't show me. I found out during preliminary hearing.
So,
I believe.
yeah, and I don't want to jump yet to the preliminary hearing, but the first time you watched the video, did you see any video that had audio on it or attached to it?
Only one, but that was the shooting, but you couldn't see anything.
When the police showed you the video, did they play the one for you that has audio?
Oh no.
Okay. You said the first time you saw that one was at the preliminary hearing, correct?
Yeah, correct.
After this incident, so after November 6th, when was the next time that you saw Elijah?
After the incident,
Yes.
I haven't seen Elijah since
In person?
in person.
Now, if there's an allegation that Elijah suffered an injury because of this, was there anything that you saw that that you could speak to what Elijah looked like after this incident?
You said it again?
Yes, if there's an allegation that Illz suffered an injury because of this incident, did you have any opportunity to see Illz's face after this incident?
Actually, I did because one of them posted a video and I took a snapshot of them overeating. They went out to eat the next day after the shooting.
Okay. And where did you see that video?
It was on, I forget whose story mode, but it was one of them, but it was like burritos. He even had his girlfriend there and a bunch of people eating. And he was toasting. And I just figured I'd take a snapshot.
And could you see Illz in that video?
Oh yeah, you can.
And you took a photograph of that?
I did.
Mark my next.
18.
So this is a different photo. It's hard to see here, but it probably, oh, it's a little better now. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, God. Oh, my God. It bothers me that there's such a lack of like timestamps, dates being read out loud when exhibits are put up.
I'm going to show you what I just marked as people 18. If I can get this a little clear. Can you see that?
Yeah, okay.
Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
And is this the screenshot that you're talking about that you took?
It is.
And the video you watched was on November 8th, correct?
I don't really know. I gotta see. But yes.
Okay. But you're
Get
saying,
off my phone, you can see it.
are you
2 days later.
Are you saying you don't remember the specific date, but you know it was within a day or?
Oh, I knew it was the next day.
The next day.
Yeah.
And do you see Illz in this still photograph?
Yeah, it was right to the, I believe,
Can you
that
point
was
to him?
it was him right here.
Okay, so I would say it's the only face that we can see on the far left of the photograph to the stand next to the person in the red jacket who's standing there. Who's the person in the red jacket?
That's right.
Okay. And when the video you actually saw of this, it was longer than just this one photograph, right?
Yeah, they was toasting.
And in the video, could you see more of Illz's face?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did you see any injury on Illz's face in that video?
No.
Okay. Now, I know we kind of jumped around a little, so I want to go back to the day of the shooting. After the two shots that we heard, the defendant and 12E ran away. You said you and Illz separated, correct?
Yeah.
And you walked the same path that you had taken up the street past the W down Hollywood, correct?
Yeah, back to the Lowe's.
Okay. What at that point was your reaction to what had just happened? How were you feeling?
Shit.
Prosecution's trying to explain his text messages after the event.
I felt betrayed. I felt hurt. I felt like that's why I was texting. I wanted to see where he was at with this situation. I felt like he was just denying it, like just acting like the shit didn't happen. So it was hard for me to like even trust him or anybody around him at that point. So I started calling like lawyers, I had my business partner.
Let me stop you. When you say he and him, are you talking about the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you, well, I think you already said, you went back to the Lowe's, correct?
Yeah, I went back to Lowe's to get my girlfriend for 1 second.
Okay.
But I walked there. I walked to Lowe's, and then I ended up getting my girlfriend.
And
I went back and got the bullets.
So after you met up with your girlfriend, where did you go?
We drove back to the same spot. So that was within like an hour or 45 minutes. You could timestamp it and see how long it took me to get back there. But it wasn't hard for me to find the bullets because I knew exactly where I got shot at.
Okay. Let me stop you. So you and your girlfriend are together, you're driving, you said we went back there. Where do you mean when you say there?
To the incident.
Where the shooting happened or where at the parking garage?
The shooting.
Okay. That street corner?
Yes.
And I believe in your answer you said that, and this is your approximation, that it was about 45 minutes to an hour after the shooting that you went back?
Yes, correct.
Do you remember the exact time?
Probably, I've seen it recently on my phone, but it had to be like 10:40 something, or maybe like 11:40 something. So that gives you like an hour from the time that the incident happened. And I took a picture of the bullet. So I remember, I think you have to show me the time or something. That's how I remember. But first I stopped at Dunkin' Donuts to get a pen and a brown paper bag. And then I went over there in hopes to find whatever I could find.
Not a Dunkin' Donuts bag.
Cameras, anything, you know what I mean? Because I took pictures of the cameras and everything. And then so happens to find the bullets. So I take a picture of them before I scoop it up with a pen and then put it in the brown bag.
Arizona, we're going to take a break now. You ready?
All right, they're taking their break.
Folks will be
Oh boy!
recess for 15 minutes. So if you could all please be outside the courtroom doors at 11:30, as close to that time as possible. We will reserve. Just as a reminder, we're going to go to
Oh boy, you guys. What are you guys? All right. Green, yellow, reds in the chat. Remember, green is, well, let's say today, the course of today so far. Green, today's going in the defense's favor so far. Red, not good for the defense at all today so far. Yellow is just kind of like... So, these breaks, it seems like the court reporters have a strong union and they get designated 15-minute breaks, which is awesome because think you're stuck sitting there typing. You know, like, what if you gotta pee? What if you gotta pee or something? So they get, like, regularly designated breaks. It also seems like their start and stop time for the day seem to be, like, 10 in the morning, and the latest they can stay in these courts in LA is 4:30. So today happens to be an exception. It's a short day. Judge said they'll be going till 12:30 their time, Pacific. That would be 3:30 Eastern. So tons of stuff going on today, though. I mean, the Dunkin' Donuts bag thing, I mean, this is a civilian, right? I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the Karen Reed trial where they used red Solo cups and a Stop and Shop bag to collect blood samples from the snow after using a snow blower to blow away snow in the scene. And there's a different criticism there, right? There's still chain of custody issues, period. But there's an expectation when it's law enforcement doing the collecting that they should be using proper tools to maintain the integrity of the evidence, right? A civilian, that's what you got, that's what you got. But interesting, we know he spoke to a lawyer, you know, perhaps the lawyer was like, try to get a bag, try to get a pen, try to make some markers. But at the same time, I can't really imagine a lawyer advising that. Why wouldn't a lawyer say, when you get back to the scene, wait in your car, call law enforcement, and while they're there with you, bring them to where you are able to find something? Right? So I can't imagine a lawyer advising him to take these steps to do such a procedure on his own. So either it was incomplete advice, or it wasn't advice that he got. He decided to do it on his own. So I don't know. That's the other thing too, saying that he was texting, scrolling on his phone. He's a lefty, right? He said he's a lefty. So if he's and he was injured on the left hand, so I mean maybe he was using his other hand to scroll. Defense might ask him questions about that. So let's see. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot, you guys. Yeah, the Stop and Shop bag. So And taking screenshots, okay, not for nothing, but on my phone, and I have a Galaxy, but I have to like flex. It's kind of annoying to take a screenshot. You've got to press like 3 buttons at one time. It takes some like dexterity, some ability. So I don't know. I don't know, you guys. This is also, what do you guys think about the civil case? So there is a civil case that I think in 2022, Relli brought against Rocky. And then in 2023, he filed another civil lawsuit, defamation being the cause of action, against A$AP Rocky and Joe Tacopina because of statements Joe Tacopina was making to the press or whatever, basically saying that, you know, Rocky's innocent, the Relli wasn't shot. I don't know the exact statements. And that defamation case is the one where Camille Vasquez, Ben Chu, that's where their representation comes in. That civil action, not the original like personal injury case that he opened in 2022. Or maybe, but I haven't heard that. I think that's different attorneys. What do you think of, you know, you've got this testimony here. I'm assuming when we get to cross and maybe a little bit of this direct, the prosecution seems like they're going to try to talk about the preliminary hearing to get ahead of what the defense might be using to try to impeach this today and yesterday's testimony with whatever Relli said at the preliminary hearing. We might get more insight on what he said during those times, but some of the stuff he's saying on the stand, I think, could have pretty big impacts, and not necessarily in a good way, for these civil actions. You know, you've got him saying things like he doesn't know. He doesn't know exactly how he was hurt, right? So how does that help your personal injury case? You're not exactly sure of the mechanism of your injury. I don't know. You've said it on the record now, and in the civil action, someone can ask you about that. As far as defamation, I mean, yesterday we heard Relli say, you know, it was as soon as this became public knowledge, as in the charges being officially formally filed against A$AP Rocky. You know, TMZ's at his house. You know, this news erupted because of the charges being pressed, the charges being officially filed. So if you have a defamation case and you're trying to sue for damages, lost opportunities, whatever the case may be, but you've said that your reputation was harmed and damaged before that point, how do you show the damages that you incurred from someone else's statements in the future, further down the line, right? So some of these things I think are not necessarily great for his civil actions, right? So what he's saying, there is the opportunity for restitution, right? So I know in opening statements, the prosecution was like, you know, you're not supposed to consider, you know, the financial outside actions that could relate to financial compensation. But technically, he could get some type of, and I'm sure it'd be a smaller amount, restitution, right? Something to cover medical bills or lost days of work or whatever else. He technically could get some chunk, smaller chunk of money if part of sentencing, if Rocky's found guilty, includes restitution to the victim, right? So there's all these moving pieces. Did he go to the hospital? Yeah. It seems like he didn't do anything that night except call an attorney. And I said it in the chat, I don't think it's fair to necessarily judge somebody for, hey, I just got involved in something. You know, prosecutors charge, they'll pick and choose who to charge when it's a two-way he said, she said situation. And they might not always choose the right person to charge. So I don't think it's bad that somebody necessarily called a lawyer to speak with somebody, but because of the additional context and what I'm seeing here with the testimony, to me, it seems like maybe you called that attorney because you were worried you could be held criminally liable for maybe not something with Rocky, but maybe attacking Illz, grabbing Illz, dropping Illz. So I don't know. Additionally, you have this financial, we haven't gotten the text messages in yet, but if that gets on the record, and I'm sure it's going to, there are these text messages in the hours right after this incident happens where he's talking about getting Rocky's money, right? Joe Tacopina promised this in opening statements. When you put that context right in the same time frame that you're calling an attorney, now I walk back from my general, like, hey, I think it could be reasonable before you speak to somebody, it might be good to have counsel with you. I think there's additional context here that makes this a more specific read, right? So, but yeah. Yeah, I don't blame him for calling the attorney, but I do for planting casings. And here's the thing. So say you're caught up, you get in a scrap, right? You get in a scrap, you didn't start it, whatever. You still might want to call an attorney to help you make sure that whatever you report to police, any statements that you give, you might want to make sure that you know, they're not going to use something against you. You never know. So I don't want to judge people for that. But at the same time, I think people judge people for lawyering up. Why would you lawyer up if you weren't guilty of something? That's the sentiment. I don't think it's a correct sentiment, but I think that sentiment exists and it's stronger than it should be. So, but with the context here, I think we're dealing with something different than that generality entirely. Gamba Kufu, good to see you, says, did his lawyers even prep him? I don't know. You know, they said that Ben and Camille have been in the gallery. Again, they're representing him in the civil action, the defamation case against Rocky and Takapina. As far as the prosecution, to me, it seems like the videos that we saw for the first time today, it seems like they showed these videos to him last night or this morning for the first time, right? As far as prepping him, you know, they're not really, they can prep them on the exhibits, but they're not supposed to coach them on anything else. And I don't know, I really think you can see this prosecutor. People have said that this prosecutor's done well in other cases. I have no idea personally. Maybe this is just such a difficult witness to maneuver around with the way he's giving his answers, that the prosecution's coming off like he's not in control of the situation. To me, it doesn't seem like the prosecution's in control of this witness. It's not a very good direct. Even when we're getting the attorney with these leading questions, directing the witness towards certain, is this specific thing that's the leading object? So that way the witness can conclude, yeah, that is that thing that you're mentioning first before I think of it on my own. Defense isn't objecting because I really think the defense expects they can trip Relli up on this later. So, yeah. Oh my god, wait! Alright, Pretty Eyes T says, it's all over the place, and Gwen and Garnett, the same minute, guys. It says 2:35 p.m. They both said it's all over the place at the exact same time. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel. So, let's see. You know, I followed the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial before and after Virginia. I mean, I started following it, but I looked back to what happened before Fairfax, Virginia. And I've also followed pretty deeply after the fact. And I think Ben Chu kind of just like laid down on things that he could have fought against. There were certain things that I think never needed to be like public laundry that needed to be aired out. And I honestly don't think Ben Chu made the motions to keep these things public, confidential. You know, if you're dealing with a celebrity client, you would think that effort would be made. So I have some criticisms of Ben and Camille. At the same time, that was just kind of like a general thing. But now I'm like, did they vet this client? Did they vet this client? So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that. Yeah, Jenny, I think they just have no control over this witness, and I think the first word the court feed cuts in today, and we hear the judge like, these exhibits, you're using them to impeach for impeachment. I mean, that shouldn't be surprising to anybody, right? This is a star witness. You would expect that a defense attorney would be looking, even if there's no way to, but they should be looking open eyes for an opportunity to impeach a star witness against their client, right? But there should be no surprise here that Joe is already like on it with multiple exhibits he plans to use to impeach this witness based on yesterday's testimony. So, oh man. Okay, so Joan, this is context here. Joan says the prosecutor's John Lewin. Yep. He prosecuted Robert Durst. He's not doing well at all here. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think that's kind of what I heard some buzzing and bubbling about. But I didn't follow that case. But that's what I'm thinking of. So shout out to you. Thank you for the context. Chloe is building a whole comedy collective here. Chloe says Relli was the busy Becky of the group, talking mess about everybody, and when they gave it back, he got so mad he tripped and fell on that cheese grater and cut his hand up. And this is the thing, like, it would be one thing if he just said, I felt the pain as soon as I heard the shot fired, and I looked down and the injury was there. It was instantaneous. That injury was from this. But there's been times, every time he says something close to that, it's like the prosecution keeps asking more questions, and Relli gets more doubtful. He expresses more doubt about that actually being what caused his injury. So, another example of the witness could have given testimony, could have given clean testimony that whether you find him credible or not, at face value, it's something that could support an injury being caused by somebody being shot, right? When you look at it at face value. But then the prosecution keeps asking questions, and the answers are now contradicting that thing that could have been very good. And now you've got the same witness contradicting themselves. So that evidence is now inconsistent. So, I don't know. I don't know what the prosecutor's thinking. But yeah, hand getting cut up, I get that he's trying to say that the heat from the round, like, maybe burned and, like, singed as it grazed across his knuckles. I don't agree with him that you can't get an impact scrape that looks like that from either hitting something or falling down, right? So, I don't know. Yeah, Mixed Chick says, how can Relli say in his civil case that he's disabled when we can see that he isn't? Am I missing something? And I think that that's something that's going to be challenged. When you claim you have these injuries, you probably are supposed to support it. But at the same time, if you're not planning to go forward to a trial, maybe he doesn't expect to be cross-examined on any of this stuff in the civil action. Maybe he expected a settlement. So that's probably my best guess there. Chloe also says, I figured it out. Acme's self-destructing bullets. Once they hit something, they disintegrate. So when they tapped his knuckle, they disappeared. That's why there's no defects in the area. We're getting the Looney Tunes defense here, the Looney Tunes explanation. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I mean, if you guys want to look up graze wounds and tell me if it's similar. Now, sometimes with this, I think it's good just to get the feedback, common sense from what you guys are thinking. If the state wants to produce an expert witness, or if the defense wants to produce an expert witness to explain the injuries, or they both do, you know, then we have something like that being presented on the record in the courtroom. You know, expert witnesses suggesting, hey, this actually could be consistent with this thing. And the jury can make of that information however they want to make, whatever they want to make from it. But right now we haven't gotten to witnesses like that. I think we might, but I don't know. They said 2 weeks now. It was supposed to be a 3-week trial. They're saying 2 weeks now, whittled down. Maybe that's extending because the defense is calling in the 2 witnesses we heard about yesterday, kind of late at last minute. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to call an expert witness to explain how this type of knuckle injury could be consistent with something firing across the knuckles, right? Again, and it's just, maybe it's just my hand. My hand, the only time the knuckles would be flat would be if I have my palm like this, and I just don't really see a scenario where his hand's like this while Rocky's firing something. I don't know. So, in that case, if you don't call an expert, all the jurors have is their common sense, their own interpretation of what they look at the picture and think themselves, right? If you're not giving them any other, line to work with, how can they get to another conclusion? And the vast majority of the chat, I haven't really seen anyone say that those injuries are consistent with getting shot across the hand. And even if, yeah, maybe, what are the odds that that's really how the stars lined up for things to happen that way? So I think the state, if they want to fill in a gap, they need to call an expert witness that can explain that this jury could be consistent with a round grazing across. So, let's see. Positive Q says, hey, Cat and ASAP fam. If looks could kill, we would be watching Relli's funeral, lol. The way Rocky's looking at him, lol. All of this for money. And that's the thing, you know, the facial expression, even from the side, we're only getting like this like sort of side angle of ASAP Rocky. His expression was pretty stoic on day one with the other witnesses, but there's a different, like, even from the side, to me, there's a contrast in the expression on his face the entire time Relli's been on the stand, right? It's like palpable. So, thank you so much for the super. Chloe Alberts Revenge says, white Air Forces, you're in court, sir. They're called tennis shoes, even when they're basketball shoes. I didn't see, they showed his shoes? Or was he describing something in the video? They've been like, to me, they've been so panned on his face today, they weren't even showing us the exhibits that he was talking about, which has kind of been making me mad. So, FFS also says surveillance footage sponsored by Etch-a-Sketch. I do hope for the jurors, for the courtroom, that it's easier to see these exhibits in person than it is, like, we're trying to look at a camera filming a projector screen. You can see the glares around the exhibit itself. Maybe it looks better in person, but it is really hard to decipher what's going on. And if the defense, again, is letting the prosecution lead with all these questions. So, I mean, what if the defense does the same thing? Defense can lead on cross-examination. So if defense goes and leads and Relli's just giving yes or no's and doesn't remember what a yes or no previously, that's a whole mess, whole bag of worms. So I know everyone's excited for cross, but redirect might be entertaining too. Redirect might be a fun cleanup session. Yeah, Pam, same vein here. Thanks for being a member for 10 months, Pam. Says, all I see is white on the screen. Poor quality. Guys, you guys know the drill. Pam is one of my favorite people. Longtime YouTube friend. 10 months is such a long time. But Pam has been covering, like, every case that I can imagine. Like, she's been doing the civil stuff with Baldani and Blake Lively. That's been kind of crazy. That's been crazy. I think you covered, we've got a Twitch ban for DJ Academics, which is like, I don't know. He's been banned from Twitch before, so who knows if this will be permanent. Twitch is like, Twitch will ban people and unban people, just like this. So, but she's been looking at that story. I mean, that man, he seems quite questionable if you ask me. So maybe it'll stick, who knows. But Pam's been covering that as well. Pam's also been looking at, you know, Jay-Z, Diddy, all the actions in that. So if you guys are interested in more legal drama, Pam is the person to follow. And there you go. Pam's link is in the chat, so make sure you show her some support. She recently hit 1K, which is like, I was so happy to see that. Chad Diggy says, Detective Hedgerito says, hit that like button. Heck yeah. And I'm getting a spinny on this lawn crime. Let's refresh.
All right, we're back on the record. All parties, jurors, and counsel are present.
There we go.
Mr. Ephron is on the stand, and Mr. Kazloma, the floor is yours.
Thank you. When right before we broke, you were talking about how you went back to the street corner where this incident happened. You had your girlfriend with you, and you personally went back to look for evidence at the crime scene. You follow me so far?
Yes.
And you said that while you were at the corner, you found some fired cartridge cases or evidence that was at the street, correct?
That's correct.
And when I asked you if you remembered specifically what time you went back to the location where this happened, you referenced that you took photographs and there was a timestamp in your phone. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask to mark my next exhibit.
19.
I'm going to actually staple the two pages together, Your Honor, so if we can do 19A and 19B.
Was what? Oh, the shot of the restaurant? All right, 19A and B.
Mr. Ephron, let me actually approach. 19A has some small photographs on it. I'm going to hand the document to you before I put it up there, but take a look at that and tell me specifically if you recognize the 4 photographs that you see small pictures of on this exhibit.
Yes.
And what are those?
Those are pictures I took
Of
shell casings, I believe.
And were those pictures that you took at the scene when you went back?
Yes, it is.
Do you see in the column right next to that, under the line where it says created, there's a date of 11/6/21, and then on the topmost one it says 11:45 and 24 seconds PM, correct?
Correct.
Does that match the time that you went back to the location where this incident happened?
Yeah, within an hour.
And would that be the time that you specifically took the photograph?
Yes.
Same time you were referring to in your phone, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm going to display this now so everyone knows what we're talking about. Did you take multiple photographs while you were at that location?
I did.
Okay. And Your Honor, I'm going to just display the page in its entirety first, and then zoom in on the topmost row. The photograph to the far right here, is that one of the photographs you took of the cartridge cases?
It is.
And then the date and time created is in the next column over, correct?
Yes.
All right. And then going down the row, the second photograph would have been created November 6/21 at 11:45:49, so just a few seconds after the first one.
That's correct.
The third one at 11:47:56, correct?
Yes.
The fourth one on this page, 11:48:01, correct?
Yes.
Now, and I can show them, approach me, we can show them to you closer, but would you agree that the first 2 photographs appear to be of the same cartridge case?
It is.
So even though there's 2 photographs, those photographs are taking pictures of the same individual thing?
Exactly.
Okay. And then the bottom 2 photographs, is that, are you taking a photograph of a second cartridge case?
I am.
Okay, so even though there's 4 photographs, these are only of 2 cartridge cases at the scene, correct?
Yes.
And were these photographs that you took before you picked up those items?
Yes.
So these would have been in place at the time?
It was in place, never touched.
Okay. I'm going to put up people's 19B. Do you recognize that, Mr. Ephron?
I do.
And is that one of the photographs that you took?
It is.
In total, while you were at that scene after you went back, how many cartridge cases did you find and collect?
2.
Did you find any more than 2 that you did not collect?
No.
Trying to pull up the computer now, but for some reason it's not recognizing something plugged in. There we go. Your Honor, I'm going to display from the same exhibit, Illz 15, the thumb drive. On the actual drive itself, there's a folder labeled 1616 Vista Del Mar. And contained within that are two files. The bottom file starts with magic-QX and ends in the number 2000. That's the file that I have pulled up on screen here. And Mr. Ephron, can you see that?
Yeah.
This would be the same camera that we've seen before, correct, of that location?
Yes.
And it's very small here, but in the bottom I have it paused at 230957. I'm going to play it forward a little, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. I can see any of these controls. I'm going to ask you to focus your attention on that same street corner that we were discussing before. Can you see what looks like an individual person walking just off the curb now into the street?
Yeah, that's me.
Keep your voice up.
Yeah, that's me.
Are you sure that that's you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
How is it that you are sure?
Because we can go back to when I took the stamps and see, like, you know what I mean?
Okay. So that's,
Well, can you just give us time on that, please?
yes. See, I paused it again. So right now it's at 23:10:31, which would be 11:10:31. 11:10:31. And you said you were there 11:45:24, correct, Mr. Ephron?
Yeah.
So this would be half an hour before you said you got there, correct?
Half an hour before.
If this is 11:10 and you said you got there at 11:45,
Hold on.
Objection. Just one.
Can we have the...
Yes.
What's the
She's on witness stand.
What's
One statement.
Wait, you say what now? Say that again?
yes, that video shows that person there at 11:10 p.m. and you're saying you returned at 11:45. That was what you said when you said refer to the timestamps on the pictures, correct?
What time did the incident happen again?
The incident happened at 10:17 p.m.
10:17. What time was this?
Encroaching. It might be easier for you to see than me, but it's saying 11:10 p.m.
Yeah, so that's correct.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, I mean, can you make out the person that you see in that video?
Objection, Judge.
He's already answered.
Your Honor.
No speaking objections.
I'm asking
No
for-
speaking objections. Asked and answered.
Your Honor,
Yes?
I would just ask.
Yes.
I would just ask that counsel, the court has ordered that counsel stay grounds. When he simply says objection,
I know what he's going to say. All right, I'll wait till he states the legal grounds. I'll wait till you state the legal
please,
grounds.
thank you, Your Honor.
But I know what the legal grounds are, but as soon as he says objection,
Asked and answered.
ask him. He already said that.
Your Honor, I believe we are allowed to clarify.
Mr. Lord? No. Go ahead.
Would you agree that the person in that video, what color clothing items do you see that person wearing in the video?
Like again, a white shirt, I think like black pants,
Okay.
or sweater.
And you previously said you were wearing a dark colored top, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
But you're saying the person in this video is wearing a light colored top, correct?
Please object again.
All I know, I went back and found the bullets. I don't know who that is or what time, or I know I came back within an hour. I'm confused on what this is right here.
Okay. When you went back to your hotel, did you change your clothing?
I don't really remember. It was so long ago, but probably, I don't know.
You also said when you went back to the scene, you were with your girlfriend, correct?
Yeah.
Did you see the second person in the video here?
No, but you gotta keep playing it.
You continue to play. All right, they're asking me to wait because fixing the computers.
Check it all out, find out what the problem is. All right.
I'm confused in a very mysteriously feeling way. Is the prosecution like setting Relli up here? I don't know. I don't know. Because is this something the defense turned over to impeach Relli? And now the prosecution learned about it today?
Mr. Ephron, did you have an opportunity to watch this video? And sorry, I can take that. It's distracting, the timestamp with the photographs. Did you have a chance to watch this video when you testified at the preliminary hearing?
I did.
Oh, he saw it already. This is the preliminary hearing thing.
When you testified at the preliminary hearing, did you say that's
Or grounds.
Scott?
Nice finish.
What's the objection?
This regarding the impeaching, which is not.
There's nothing wrong with impeaching parties on witness.
Can we strike the word impeachment? That's not a legal objection, and he's now describing what we're doing, which is incorrect.
An attorney is entitled to contradict what a witness has previously said.
Did you previously testify at the hearing? That's not me.
What are you going to read from?
The preliminary hearing transcript.
What page?
127.
What page?
Right now, I'm at line 13.
Hold on. I don't have a transcript. I think I can get
We
one.
need to get all this. We may have an extra copy.
Alex is going to get public.
Yeah, while
What?
While he's doing that, Gunnar, I'm gonna, just for the sake of time, I'm gonna play the video forward and then I'll come back to the line of question once you have a transcript. Okay, Mr. Ephron, I just, sorry, my eyes are just not that good. I cannot see the time. It's so small. So it's stopped right now at 23:10:31. So it'll be 11:10:31. I'm going to play it forward. And I'll read the time off where we stopped. Keep your eye on that person if you would, Mr. Ephron.
So prosecutor's saying that this isn't going to be impeachment. And Relli said at preliminary, that's not me. And he's saying today, he doesn't know who that is. So that would be consistent. Couldn't be Relli. So they might just be trying to get ahead of the defense, saying, you went back, that's you. You changed your clothes. You went back. You planted those rounds. And then went back 30 minutes later to find the same things you just placed 30 minutes before.
Stop it there. I think I stopped it. Let me just read off the time. You know what we played. So it's now at 23:11:39. So 11:11:39. Did you have an opportunity to watch that person that was depicted on the video during that period of time the video was played?
Yes.
And did you see any other people with that individual?
No.
I'd like to go into the transcript, Your Honor, but
Can you bring me the page?
yes.
We'll just take a look at it before you, page 127, line 13?
Line 13. And it's going to go into 128.
All right, so let me just take a look. Over to where on the
Where's my house? Yeah, these two lines 6, Your Honor.
All right, this is inconsistent with his trial testimony, so it's fair game. Go ahead.
Well, can we approach her? I just don't want to speak in objection, so that's all I'm trying to.
You can, the part that you wanted to read is inconsistent with today what Mr. Ephron has testified to. You're entitled to bring out prior statements that are different than in court, in trial statements. So go ahead.
I'm not disputing that, Your Honor.
Yes.
One second.
See.
Is there something else I need to see? No. All right, go ahead.
So if it is
So, Mr.
inconsistent,
Ephron, when you
why isn't it impeachment?
testified previously, you were shown that video, correct?
Yes.
Did you say, that's not me?
I believe so. It was a long time ago.
Do you want to refer to the transcript?
But I remember, I need to jog my memory. It's the first time I'm seeing it. Once I looked at the video, I noticed that's not me.
Okay.
I don't walk
First
like that.
time?
I don't move like that. That looked like a homeless person or something.
Did you also in fact say, I don't even walk like that?
When before?
Yes, when you.
Oh, I just had to look just now and notice again. But yeah, I don't walk like that.
Okay. My question is, when you testified previously, you said, I don't even walk like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you also previously testify that when you went back, quote, I probably had the same hoodie on, that looks like a gray hoodie?
Sounds familiar. How long ago did I say that?
Oh my god.
Is that what you said previously? Meaning, you said previously that you were wearing the same hoodie, correct?
From that day? What do you mean?
I mean, okay.
I don't remember. It was so long ago.
You told us that when this incident happened, you were wearing this hoodie.
Right.
When you went back to your hotel and then came back to find the fire cartridge cases, you previously testified you were wearing the same hoodie, correct?
Yeah, so I said.
And answer your honor.
All right, Alex was giving me the, could you read the question?
Yes, Your Honor. Question, when you went back to the hotel and then came back to find the fire cartridge cases, you previously testified you were wearing the same hoodie, correct? Answer, yes.
And when you watched the video, you commented that the person seen in that video was wearing a gray hoodie, or what you meant was a different color hoodie from the one that you were wearing that night, correct?
Correct.
And that testimony that we're referring to, so you said that previously, that was on November 8th of 2023, correct? At a completely different hearing?
That was a preliminary hearing?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
No, this is direct by prosecution still, guys.
Yeah, the preliminary hearing occurred over 2 days. The first day was November 8th of 23. The second day was November 20th of 23.
As you sit here right now, do you have any recollection of how long it took you to find these fire cartridge cases after you went back to the scene?
Probably took me no longer than 2-3 minutes.
In your view, was it a quick, short period of time?
Yes.
Does he look like some life is leaving his body? Or is it just the camera? I don't know. Look at that dark guy. Look at Alex.
You talked yesterday about some of the reasons why you would not have physically attacked the defendant that day, correct?
In general.
You talked about, in general, the consequences that you feared that would come to your career in the music business. Remember that?
Yes.
Those were consequences that you feared would possibly happen if you got into an altercation with him. Have you, since this incident, suffered any actual consequences to your career?
Oh, of course.
Can you explain that to the jury?
I mean, it's been a living hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, death threats, just people leaving me to snitch for saying something that happened. My social media, everything that I'm doing as far as social media, I don't have a presence there no more.
Skirt thing.
You said you were working in the music industry managing.
And then like my artists turned on me, my producers, they all turned on me because of this decision I made. They felt like, okay, this is gonna be like, I can't back them up no more. I can't support them with what I'm doing, going to the police. They didn't want nothing to do with me no more.
When you say they turned on you, what does that mean?
Like they unfollowed me, wrote shit about me, like some of them. Other ones just like understood.
We're not making that control suggestions.
Are you still working with any of those individuals?
No, nobody.
So that would include artists or musicians that you were working with, correct?
Yes.
Would also include producers that you worked with, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
You don't have any of those people that you're managing anymore, correct?
Nobody.
You said that prior to this incident, you had meetings with different executives from record labels, correct?
Yeah.
Do you still have meetings with record labels?
No, they all unfollow me, damn near all of them.
Do any of them contact you anymore?
No.
You said you had your own management business called Shut Eye, correct?
That's correct.
Is that still a business?
No. I actually cut ties with all my artists and gave them their royalties. Like I didn't even get no back end.
Stop.
Judge.
Is it fair to say that your entire career in the music business is now no longer, does not exist anymore?
In that field of overall music, fashion, just the culture, it's done.
All of it.
Done.
And how soon after the shooting did that happen?
I mean, nobody really knew it was me until Jabari posted a picture of me. So then once that happened, it was over.
Okay.
You're not suing Jabari.
Was that,
That doesn't answer your question.
yeah, was that picture specifically in some way relating back to this shooting?
Yes.
How so?
Because he wrote on one of my pictures, this rat ass nigga snitched on my brother, or snitched on my bro, or whatever.
And after that, your career basically.
Oh yeah.
After the shooting, you already said you contacted an attorney, correct?
I did.
Did you ultimately, through your attorney, file a civil lawsuit?
I did.
And is the defendant one of the people that you're suing in that lawsuit?
Yes, him and his lawyer.
Okay.
But not Bari. You just said you lost everything when Bari made a post.
When you say his lawyer, who are you talking about?
Joe Tacopino?
Squabble.
Is he seated at the table here today?
He is.
And why was it that his lawyer wasn't at the shooting when that happened that day, correct?
No, but I got defamation lawsuit against him.
Your Honor, they're opening the door here.
They are opening the door.
Well, can you read the question back and the answer?
Why
Do
was
it.
that his lawyer wasn't at the shooting when that happened that day, correct? Answer, no, but I have a defamation lawsuit against him.
The question is, why was his shooting, why was the attorney not at the shooting?
No.
It definitely was not.
Why was it that dashes his lawyer wasn't at the shooting when that happened that day, correct?
Why was he
Call
sued?
for yes or no.
No.
Mr. Tacopino was not at the shooting, correct?
No.
Answer another question.
Since, well, when you came to that preliminary hearing that we talked about before, did Mr. Tacopina ask you questions at that hearing?
He did.
Can you give us an approximate of how long he was able to ask you questions?
I don't recall. I don't remember. It's like a day, half a day. I don't really remember.
Okay. More than an hour?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And did you answer the questions that he asked you?
I did.
After that day, has Mr. Tacopina asked you to, essentially, if you'll sit down for an interview with him?
No.
Did he ask you, or sorry, he did not ask you directly, but were you asked by the judge if you would agree to an interview with Mr. Tacopina since that day of the preliminary hearing?
Yeah, I was.
When did that happen?
Yesterday.
And what was your answer?
I declined
Why did you decline to talk to him?
because I spoke to him already.
You spoke to him already, but you didn't talk to him previously? Or he just didn't ask you?
1 second, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
This seems like they're wrapping it up, guys. And not for nothing, but if the jury doesn't like Tacopina because he's sitting there rocking, maybe this will resonate.
20.
Do you have a friend, first name is Justin?
That's my business partner.
Is he a close friend of yours?
He is.
someone that you've done business with?
Yes.
After this shooting, did you exchange text messages with Justin?
I did.
And did you send him any messages specifically related to the shooting?
Not really. I don't know if it was you call that relating or. Yeah, that's all you call that.
Okay. I'm going to display what I previously marked as People's Exhibit 20. Do you recognize what we see here?
Yeah, so I said I want to get this nigga's money.
All right. When you wrote that line, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to Rocky.
And again, was this text message sent after the shooting?
Yes, it was after.
Now, can you see Justin responds to your text, correct?
Yeah, he's a sarcastic person, so he said he's probably trying to get you to perform at complex line.
So when you received that, you didn't receive that as a serious comment that he was making?
No, because he always makes like weird side jokes.
Okay. And what was your response to him after that?
He shot me.
And when you say he shot me, who are you referring to?
To Rocky.
Objection. He didn't say he shot me. He said he shot at me.
Sorry, my apologies. I didn't read that correctly. When you said he shot at me, who are you referring to when you say he?
Rocky. Rocky.
Is there a approximate date and time when that text was sent? Is there a way to determine?
There is. Give me just 1 second here. Do you remember the date and time?
It had to be the 7th.
I don't have it printed. I can definitely pull it up on my computer. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll find the date and time and then we'll enter stipulation. That works for us. Sure. Okay.
They've been so bad with these dates and times.
I'm going to mark my next exhibit, Your Honor, 21. It is a 10-page document. Text messages, yes. Before I display, I'm going to approach and ask him to review himself. Now, there's some information redacted on here, Mr. Ephron, but do you recognize who the text messages in this thread are between? Okay. And
I didn't hear.
Me and Rocky.
the date that these text messages start, would you agree it's November 6, 21 at about 9:34 p.m.?
That's correct.
Okay. And if you need to refer to context, let me know. But there's two colors of text bubbles. There's blue and there's green. Do you know which one is you and which one is
I'm green. He's blue.
So the defendant's blue and you're green?
Is that yes?
Yes.
And that first message, November 6/21 at 9:34 p.m., that would be before the shooting, correct?
That's correct.
Now I'm going to go all the way to the last page, page 10, and show you the very last message on this thread is marked at November 7/21 at 12:46 a.m. Would you agree that is after the shooting?
That's correct.
Okay. Now you said he is blue and you are green, correct?
Yes.
Let's go through this first page. First text message, what was the content of the text message that you received?
Where you at? Question mark.
And then the second text message that you received.
Let's get to it.
All right. The third text message,
I'm ducking my cold.
and that one was read by you at 9:35, or sorry, 9:39 and 22 seconds p.m.
Correct.
You then responded to that message, correct?
Yeah, but we spoke because I answered his FaceTime call.
That's okay.
I'm just it's not about lying, but I didn't want to tell him exactly where I was at, so I said Trader Joe's.
That's fine. So, and I'm sure there are other messages you exchanged with other people, but I'm just asking you to focus on this, this thread. Your next response to him at 10:08:31 was, "I'm in front of Trader Joe's, drop location."
Correct.
For the record, that was PM.
My fault. Okay. Going to the third page, the top of the page, the first message. I know it's a small photograph, but can you tell just from that small photograph what that's a picture of?
That's the showcase now.
And is this you sending him a picture of the shell casing after the shooting?
That's correct.
And how soon after you took the picture did you send it to him?
I don't know, within minutes or right there, I don't really remember.
Okay. You took the picture at 11:45 and then sent it at 11:58. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, that's correct.
But you sent it to him that same night, correct?
I did.
And this, again, this is after the shooting.
That's after the shooting.
And then your next message to him?
You trying to kill me. You trying killing me.
And now we've moved into the next day, November 7th, but just past midnight. So 12 o'clock and 55 seconds in the morning, correct?
That's correct.
And then you said to him, the next message?
You should have killed me.
And then your next message to him after that one?
I sent him a text message of his call to me, his text message to me, letting him know that. So when I said you should have killed me, I was meaning I'm about to be the biggest, like I'm about to do what I need to do.
You were showing him the prior text message where he said, "Where are you at? Let's get to it."
I was pretty much showing
Mike,
him.
both can't talk at the same time. Go ahead and ask the question again.
Yes, you had taken a screenshot of the text messages where he said, where are you at? Let's get to it. Stop ducking my calls. And that's what you sent to him?
I did.
Okay. And that's at 12 a.m., correct?
That's correct.
Where are you at?
If you can, Mr. Ephron, even though you might know or think what the answer is going to be if the question is over, can you wait all the way until you hear the lawyer finish their question, because the court reporter can't get you both at the same time.
Okay. Now, would you agree that up until that point in the text thread, he has not responded to your messages, correct?
I'll have to see my phone.
So, what I'm saying is, you said after the shooting, you texted him the garbage case, and you sent him 3 other messages. To that point, he never responded to any of them, correct?
Correct.
But after you sent him the picture of your conversation, he responded, correct?
Yes.
And what was the first message that he sent to you?
Bro, what the fuck is you talking about? Why?
Voice up.
Bro, what the fuck is you talking about? Why are you telling people I shot at you?
And then he questioned or added a question mark to the message that you had sent to him previously, saying you tried killing me.
Yeah, he put a question mark on it.
What did that mean to you when someone puts a question mark on your text?
I can't tell you what he meant by that.
No, how did you receive it?
I received it like he was not owning up to the fact. Like, I just wanted to see if he was going to own up to like what he was doing.
Okay. And
You
then
wanted
you
him to
sent
admit it on
a,
paper.
response, correct?
Yeah, on my hand.
What were you showing him on your hand?
The grades.
The same injuries that we displayed before?
Yes.
And then
That was in People 17.
People 17, yes. And then his next message to you was to attach a question mark to your text of "you should have killed him," correct?
That's correct.
Did you receive that the same way? Like you said, in your words, he wasn't owning up to it?
Yeah, he was in denial still.
Okay.
Well, he's still in denial today, apparently.
What did you text him after that?
I said I did love the dumbass.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I love her. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't expect this to happen.
Sorry, I couldn't hear someone cough.
I did not expect this to happen, so I was just telling him I had love for you.
Meaning before the shooting, you loved
Yeah,
him.
before it.
Okay. Can you read your next message to him?
I said, y'all niggas try to set me up and take me with my daughter.
I still don't get the daughter thing.
Did he respond to that message?
He did.
What did he say?
I try to do what? Nigga, I know you hate me. I hate you too.
Top of the 8th page? What did he say?
Stop making shit up, bro.
All right. And how did you respond to that?
I got bid.
Okay. At that point, what did you mean when you said, I got bit?
I got video.
What video were you referring to?
So, I was thinking the actual, like, around, I probably was texting him after I got the bullets or something like that. I don't really remember, but when I said that, I probably was already back at my hotel and I already took pictures of every location he was at.
Okay, you said when you went back to take pictures of the actual cartridge cases, there were other things you were taking pictures of as well, correct?
Yeah.
What other things were you taking pictures of?
Any cameras I seen around?
On businesses?
Yeah.
And had you, up to the point that you sent this text, so we're now at 12:40 on November 7th, did you watch video from any of those locations?
No, I couldn't.
Did you have access to any of those cameras?
No, I went to one building. They told me I needed a subpoena.
Okay, so they specifically refused to let you watch it.
They wouldn't even acknowledge the fact that I wanted the video. They was like, you would need a subpoena.
So
I think I went with the lawyer that I had, and he told him that.
the point being though, when you sent that text message, at that moment, you had not seen any video related to this case.
I haven't seen anything.
Were you only referring to the fact that you know there were cameras around it?
Yeah, so I wanted to reserve before it gets too late on what happened because I didn't go to the police right away.
But I'm asking, what are you communicating to him with that text message?
Oh, I'm letting him know that I have evidence. Like you're not getting away from this.
Why is it that you felt like you had to tell him you had evidence?
Because he shot at me. He wasn't acknowledging the fact that he shot at me.
Was he denying that the whole incident took place? Is that how you received it?
Yeah.
We're going to have to break it in 2 minutes.
I'm gonna,
All right.
just want to finish with this and I'll be done now.
Grabbing his shirt.
After that text message about the video, what did you text him?
Received some mud.
Then your next message?
I meant to say probably stop texting me. You lost it.
Okay. But what you actually sent him was
Text everything. You lost it.
All right. And then your next text,
Just stop texting me.
and then how did he reply to that?
Love me but talk shit about me, shit on me, let me get cut, which I don't know how the fuck I let this nigga get cut, and still ain't cut you off. We never had.
Wait, Mr. Ephron, can you just read the text and then I can ask you what
Nigga, you been a op. You don't love me because we don't do business, so it is what it is.
Okay. When he said that you talk shit about him, what did you take that to mean?
I never talk shit about him. If anything, I'm just voicing my opinion on why shit is not working.
Okay. Did you know what he was referring to when he said, "Let me get cut"?
Oh yeah, I was there that day, but I had nothing to do with him getting cut.
You didn't personally do anything to him, correct?
No.
All right. And then when he says you've been an op, what does that mean?
That was the first time I ever heard I was an op from him.
What's an
So
op?
it was new, like an opposition, maybe somebody you don't fuck with. Mind you, I told this dude many times, if you don't fuck with me, just let me know.
Okay. And then I get the rest. And then the last text message that he sent to you.
Now you trying to extort niggas talking about I shot at you and shot you 4 times and all type of nonsense. You a phony, you don't have my best intentions, so I
It
text you.
doesn't say mine.
Where?
You don't
You don't-
have the best intention.
Oh yeah, you don't have the best intentions. Stop texting me and stop calling my manager and call the police if I shot at you, you weirdo. So after that, that's when I was like, okay.
Hold on.
How did you receive that text message?
Oh, it was no more trying after that. I was going to do, like, he literally told me to go to the police.
But did you receive that as him denying that this incident ever took place?
Oh, yeah.
In anywhere in the text messages he sent you, did he refer to an allegation that he used a prop gun?
No, never.
Or
He
a
just
starter
denied
pistol?
it.
No.
When he says stop texting me and stop calling my manager, what is he? What do you know what he's referring to when he says stop calling my manager?
So he had a manager, John, that I was cool with, and he did that. I sent everything I sent him, I sent to John. And John was like, pretty much like, whoa, let me see what's going on.
Okay, but that's what you thought he was referring to, was the fact that you were in communication with his manager.
With his manager, yeah.
Okay.
In the shirt again.
You had a concern about what would happen if you ever challenged the defendant. Have those concerns been realized in your life?
Objection.
What do you mean by that?
Hold on. Just a minute. About how much longer do you
That's
have?
it, Your Honor. That's my last question.
So you feel you'll be finished with correct examination?
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead and ask the question.
Yes.
Cross will start first thing
You
tomorrow.
told us about all these fears you had about what would happen to you, what would happen to your career, your life, if you challenged the defendant. What happened? Have those fears actually been realized since this incident?
Yeah, for sure.
Those consequences have happened to you, correct?
Yeah.
All right. I don't have anything.
All right, let me see you at the sidebar, not on the record, before we...
So, prosecution's trying to work with what they got, but I think it's pretty slick that the prosecution, I can't see the text messages on screen. I have to rely on how they're being recited through the question and answer. But it seemed like Rocky simply said, stop making stuff up, and then stop texting me. And the prosecution's trying to turn that into Rocky denying the entire incident took place, as if to show the jury or let the jury fill in the gap that, oh, you can't trust Rocky because Rocky's denying that this fight, this pursuit, this chase, this meetup completely happened at all. He's denying it across the board. Prosecution's trying to get the jury to say, oh, Rocky is lying because we know that there was at least a squabble, some type of confrontation. But Rocky wasn't just denying the whole thing flat out. He said stop making stuff up in response to Relli saying, you shot me. You should have just killed me. So the prosecution, I think, is really trying to be slick with that. And I don't like, to me, that's dirty. To me, that's dirty. I don't know if they're going to come back. So we'll keep this up. They might just be at sidebar before they let the jury go, and then the cameras will be done for the day. Tomorrow, you guys, is going to start with cross-examination because the prosecution has passed this witness. So we will open bright and early. They start at 10:30 Pacific, so what is that, 1:30? Or no, 10, right? So that'll be 1 o'clock tomorrow Eastern. So we'll start when Law and Crime starts. So if you're waiting for Cross, tune in tomorrow. But they might come back, we'll see. FFS, huge shout out to FFS here, dropping 10 in the chat. We got it in the banner, but I'm a little bit behind, so big thank you to FFS. You guys were going crazy with the umbrellas and the FFS when he gifted these memberships, so thank you, chat, for showing so much love. And thank you, FFS, for your generosity and support of this channel, and your hard work as a mod. Sleepy says, thanks, Kat, for hanging out with us. Thanks for being here. Doing this brings joy to my days. Having people to talk with, especially when I don't get something and you guys are like, here's what was said. I love hanging out with you guys. And good to see you. FFS gifting another 5 memberships. So thank you so much, FFS. Chloe saying, Relli, was Dr. Dre available to treat you as a walk-in, or did you make an appointment? You know, maybe Dr. Dre didn't want to treat him after he lost his clout all of a sudden, right? And it's weird. He's given all these different pieces of testimony now. And to be fair, you know, when if your reputation takes a hit, there could be multiple reasons. People could find out things about you in different ways or decide they don't rock with you for their own reasons. It might not all come down to one point in time, one reason. But if you've got this defamation case, and now this is on the record in front of the jury, you've got this defamation case that you filed against A$AP Rocky and Joe Tacopina, his attorney, for things that his attorney said. And then you're saying, well, actually, my reputation was hit because Bari said something. Bari posted a picture. Oh, but I'm also texting people. Within hours of this happening, I'm texting at least 2 people that are not A$AP Rocky and letting them know what happened, at least my version of events. So now it no longer seems like Rocky and his attorney are the ones running around and making the faucet turn off for you. So I don't know. It seems like he might genuinely think there's no reason he should have lost his reputation. Sometimes people, they can't conceive of the why when the why is them, right? Maybe he's just blocking that reality out. I don't know. So, yeah, Jamie goes back to what reputation? I don't know. Even if we take it at face value that he had status, pull, success, he was at the peak of his career. Even so, even if we accept that at face value, he's giving the catalyst for that tumbling down. If he was here, the catalyst for him tumbling down doesn't seem like 2023 statements that Joe Tacopina made. So that's the thing. Like, even if, right? PM says, has anyone figured out why A$AP Relli went back to the scene of the crime? Why didn't he call the police to let them know he was going back? And guys, I think what was going on, that whole like impeachment, don't say the word impeachment. I don't think the prosecution was trying to get the jury to think that person in the video in the white shirt, half an hour before Relli admits that he went back and found these 2 casings. I don't think the prosecution's goal was to actually frame him. I do now, after that played out. I think that was their attempt to get ahead of Joe Tacopina, or whoever's cross-examining, getting up there and saying, doesn't that look like you, blah, 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 blah. Or whatever else they might have to possibly corroborate a time frame where that is actually Relli going to the scene 30 minutes before he goes back and retrieves those casings. I think they were just trying to get ahead of that and show Relli's been consistent on this detail. He said it wasn't him back then, and he said it wasn't him today while he's testifying. Now, what's the problem with that? The jury gets to assess credibility. How much weight does it bear if someone that could have done something criminal, like be framing somebody, trying to extort somebody, possibly engaged in an assault themselves, they were the aggressor? How credible is it? Play the jury, put your juror hats on. How much weight do you give Relli himself saying, that's not me in that video? No matter if he's consistent about it or not. Of course you're going to be consistent about things that are self-serving. So, to me, I wouldn't put much weight in that. But technically, it is on the record that this witness, this victim, has said twice that that's not him in the video. So if the defense wants to point out that it's him in the video, they'll either have to trip him up on cross or make the suggestion and hope the jury gets it in their mind. I think the prosecution put that possibility in the jury's mind. We started thinking about it because the prosecution tried to get ahead of it. So, or maybe the defense has another witness that will point something out, maybe phone records, I don't know. But as far as what's on the record for the prosecution, you've got two statements from the only witness so far to testify about this video footage that it's not Relli. Relli saying it himself. So, okay, so jury's still in the box, and this is still rolling, you guys, so it's a little hidden behind the banner, but I do still have the feed live in case they cut back in. Yeah, Jenny says this dude also said he was a lefty and he is a righty, so I put no weight in it. It's just crazy. And this is the thing, like this could be different to me if the prosecution had a bit more control over the questions and answers. It just seemed scattered. It seemed all over the place. And no matter what was actually being said, the body language to me, I'm only looking on a screen. I don't know what the jury is seeing from their angle, but the body language, the silence, the change up in the length of answers when we were going through that question about this video of Relli or somebody in the white shirt, the contrast, the switch up was noticeable to me too. And juries can read the demeanor, the body language, the silence, right? They can weigh that however they want to weigh it. So, oh boy. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really understand what happened with that because Joe Tacopina seemed to think it was going to be impeachment because of that. And then the district attorney laying down was like, it's not impeachment and we don't want him to say the word impeachment in court. So I don't know. Yeah, for real, Ghost, he just needs to go with being ambidextrous. And that's crazy. But Nadine, this is why they want it on the record that, you know, he's actually saying that it's inconsistent and that it's more of a misspeak. So, but I don't take it that way. It doesn't matter to me if someone says, no, that's not me, when it would definitely benefit them to deny it's them. So, speaking of denials, this whole text message chain, you know, I want to be fair. Not everybody doesn't act the same way in every situation. I can imagine a situation where somebody, you know, is the victim of something and they text the person who did the thing to them, right? Just because someone texts someone doesn't mean that they weren't the victim of whatever they're seeing happen to them. But again, in this scenario with all the different layers, the context just makes it seem like Relli was in position lining things up to be able to use it in court later, to be able to use it to get money out of somebody later relatively quickly. Right? So, you know, those text messages didn't move the needle for me against ASAP Rocky. He's saying you're making this up. And of course, you could have done something. You could have done exactly what someone's telling you did. You could have done all of it. And that person could still say, you're lying. Even though that person might know that they're not lying. Right? So both sides in a given bubble. Someone could be lying by saying you're making something up and they know dang well they did the thing that the other person's accusing them of. But I'm not convinced at all that that's the case here. So, yeah. And this is crazy. So Jamie Daniels, yep, he actually said he wanted Rocky's money and he's also texting the same thing to the manager. So that's weird. I still don't understand why the prosecution didn't get into these text messages. You know, the prosecution, if they've got to combat this theory that I think has some weight behind it about extortion or setup or frame job, whatever you want to call it. Joe can't call him an extortionist. You know, why wouldn't you try to introduce these text messages in the same section of questioning where you're getting into a state of mind after all this happened to him. You were really mad, so you might have been saying things you didn't really mean, right? Then ask this question about these text messages where one of the texts looks particularly bad for your witness, right? Couch that into, yeah, you might be in a position where you're going to say things that are very exaggerated, that might be a little irrational, that might look weird, right? But the prosecution didn't do that, so oops. Thank you, Jason says recess until 10:30 Pacific tomorrow. So, for East Coasters, that is going to be 1:30 tomorrow. Let's see. Peter Ortiz, good to see you. It's so funny, after you popped into the chat for the Georgia appeal for Blaylock and Rodelius Ryan, when we did the ASAP stream right after it, someone was asking where Peter Ortiz was. So great to see you. You've been missed. Rice Street also dropping in the building here. We've got our honorary Rice Street showing us he's bringing us food, you guys. Bringing us food. And then what time tomorrow? So 10:30 Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So, forever, for always, for life says, in my opinion, this is a jealousy thing that went left. And that's the thing, like, jealousy can be a really real feeling, but sometimes feelings become like physical problems. And I don't know, my advice, I think it's always best to keep your distance, stay away. Looking at this situation, even if you would think, no way that we're going to get into a physical fight if we meet up and talk about something, you really don't ever know. How can you actually know for sure? Because people get crazy. Nicole R., thanks for becoming a member. Positive cues yelling 403, 403, 403, waste of time. Yeah, there was a lot of that. There's been a lot of that. I think, where's Chloe's comment here about the snow? In tandem here, Chloe says, I don't trust this case starting with that surveillance video that depicts the snowstorm in LA because the quality is just awful. Can we get someone to authenticate that? Now, can you imagine if we had questioning about the weather? And what was the weather like that day? This would be dragging on and on. We would have more direct tomorrow. Nicole R, $4.99 with no comment. Thank you so much for the support. Let's see. Okay, for always, forever, for life. It was me checking in on you. Sorry, I couldn't remember who it was. Couldn't remember. And honestly, factual lie, yeah, it wasn't actually snowing. It's just the quality, but you never know. And with the Karen Reed trial, I hope any prosecutor across the country understands that no matter what side of the Karen Reed case, I think the Commonwealth looks crazy for some of the stuff they've done in the Karen Reed case. But both sides were just tuckered out and getting tired of these constant questions. It would be like 10 minutes wasted every time a new witness got on the stand talking about the snow and the weather. So, oh boy. Thank you, Law and Crime, for streaming. Guys, I got a scam company doing a copyright claim yesterday. It's Associated Press UK is the name of the copyright claimant. It's not really Associated Press. They just use that name, I think, to scare people. But they claimed like 24 segments of the stream we did yesterday. And I'm like, I disputed it or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen with it. But it's like, this is Law and Crime's feed that I'm using. So shout out to Law and Crime. We love Law and Crime. And if you guys ever hear a content creator getting a strike from Associated Press UK, kindly suggest to them that this is someone that tries to get money from content creators that don't dispute or whatever. And they end up collecting the money from the video. I did a Twitter search, and a lot of creators over the last like 5-6 years have had the same issue with these YouTube claims from the same Associated Press UK that is not really the Associated Press. So isn't that crazy? So Jenny says, I think Relli was a clinger, and those can be some of the most dangerous people when they're like in a heightened state of emotion or think that they're finally cut off. Someone doesn't want to talk to you. They start panicking and feeling like they can show up to your job or whatever. Like, not good. Not good. Let's see. Big shout out here on Peter. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Let's get you in the banner, even though we're at the end here. We got to get you in here. The Honorable Peter Ortiz. And that puts us at, we're at 32 members. See, if you guys notice, when Peter's been showing up, I haven't had a hat on. So, Yvette, I'm not sure, has or will anyone that was actually there be testifying, meaning like Illz or 12E. I don't know. I don't know. But that'll be interesting. And, I mean, I wonder who would call them. So, the prosecution's kind of already elicited answers from Relli that make Relli seem like the aggressor for Illz. Like, clearly. He was skips away, you run up on him, you're grabbing him. Illz was the one that was petrified. And whether that's true or not, Relli's putting that on the record. And that doesn't really look good for Relli. That doesn't really make you a sympathetic witness if you're the one out here causing chaos and petrifying people. So, let's see. Yeah, Rods, yep. So Betsy, yeah, it's, and I looked back and they're all saying the Associated Press UK name, and I don't really think Associated Press would claim something that clearly had Law and Crime's logo on it. Like, I don't really hide Law and Crime's logo. I don't hide it. It's pretty easy to see what my source feed is. Also, additionally, it's still a court stream where, you know, Law and Crime's using a media pool. I don't think it's Associated Press that has the pool access anyway. But in any case, the other creators from like 4 or 5 years ago that have had the same problem, they're posting like archival public domain footage, and this group, this account, whoever they are, that's not really Associated Press, is just running through and putting copyright claims and hoping that creators don't actually dispute it. So interesting, right? There's always someone like finding a sketchy way to try to make money. And look, always for life, showing love to Peter. Love to see it. So there we go again, guys. This was a short day. Yeah, AP would be like, excuse me. Honestly, if it was actually Associated Press, I would just clip the segment out, like, or whatever. I don't know. But that was weird. I've never really seen a claim where it was like 24 bits, which means they like claimed the entire court day. So who knows? We'll see what YouTube does about it. YouTube doesn't seem to want to be proactive about making a decision on stuff like that, but maybe this Associated Press UK will just release it. But yeah, who knows? Chloe Alvarez Revenge says every time they start questioning him again, more weapons appear. Pretty soon he'll say they pulled out lightsabers. And again, going back to where we started, we looked at, you know, model jury instructions for California on this code, this 245B. Rocky's charged with 2 counts under 245B. It specifically says in the accusatory language that it's with a semi-automatic firearm, right? So we can't just change what object was scary or what object was the object of the assault, right? Because that's not how the prosecutors charged it. And I'm very curious to see about lesser included offenses. I was looking at people, maybe it's Fugit, maybe it's Vugit, I don't know. Maybe you guys want to take a quick look at this case summary. It was a recent case. And I think, let me double check. Yeah, so this is California. Both cases I looked at were California appeals from 2023, so pretty recent. More recent than the incident itself. People VPAC. And I thought it was interesting because in some, let's start with this one. You know, this is the summary of the decision in this appellate case. The trial court's instruction, so the jury instruction that the judge gave, sent back with the jury. Trial court's instruction on force likely assault. Now, force likely assault is a lesser included offense when we're looking at something charged under, for example, 245, right? It can be something you would use this language. What is it? force likely to produce great bodily injury. You could include this language as a lesser included offense when you're also including instruction with something else here. But the problem is, and I think it's really helpful to the defense that they have this case law, especially if the judge is in tune with it and paying attention. You have here the court's instruction on force likely assault as a lesser included offense of assault with a deadly weapon did not violate defendant's due process rights. So in general, this specific case, they didn't find a reversible error, but look at what this decision agreed on. There's an agreement in the case law. So the defendant threw a ceramic coffee mug at a car, shattering the passenger window. The information charged Fugit with assault and with a deadly weapon. So that's 245 subdivision A, 1. Over his objection, the jury was instructed that assault by any means of force was likely to produce great bodily injury. Force likely assault. So this is a lesser included. So the jury was also given a lesser included to consider. Now, what does this decision here say? This was a lesser included offense of assault with a deadly weapon. He was acquitted of assault with a deadly weapon, but convicted of the force likely assault, the lesser included offense. On appeal, he argued that force likely assault is not a lesser included offense of assault with a deadly weapon. Now, what the appeals court agreed upon here, and this can be cited, this decision held that the appeals court affirmed the parties agreed that force likely assault is not a lesser included offense of assault with a deadly weapon under the elements test. Under the accusatory pleading test, a lesser offense is included within the greater if the charging allegations include language describing the offense in such a way that if committed as specified, the lesser offense is necessarily committed. So this is why it matters. The deadly weapon element of assault with a deadly weapon can be satisfied by proof that an inherently deadly weapon was used, or that the object was used in such a way that is capable of causing and likely to cause death or great bodily injury. Here, the accusatory pleading alleged, so this is the case that they heard the appeal arguments on, the accusatory pleading alleged that Fugit used the ceramic mug, right? And a ceramic mug might not be inherently deadly. Thus, the specification of the ceramic mug in the accusatory pleading put Fugit on notice of the prosecution's intent to prove that he used that mug in a manner likely to cause great bodily injury. So this is a bit distinct from what we're dealing with the ASAP Rocky case. We're dealing with a semi-automatic firearm, which is an option you can choose from in the code without having to spell it out. It's assumed that if you're tacking on one of these aggravating factors, it's something that's inherently capable of causing great bodily harm. But what's the problem with this? We've got the defense putting forth this theory that there was no semi-automatic firearm in play, right? And if that's the case, I feel like there might be a good argument to argue against a lesser included offense. You can't just say force likely to produce great bodily injury. There's also an additional argument here because force likely to produce great bodily injury, touching can be considered assault. But touching something with small scrapes is actually in some of the language. Case law about simple assault, which is a misdemeanor, as compared to something like aggravated assault. So I don't really know if the prosecution will fight to be able to include a lesser included offense or if they'll be successful in that fight. I also noticed with People v. Pack, for purposes of due process, assault with a deadly weapon charge, which is 245A under California Code, they did not provide notice to defendant that he could be convicted of assault with force likely to cause great bodily injury. So there might also be some case law where if there isn't this notice ahead of time about this lesser included, it could be an error because what did the appeals court do here? So the prosecution didn't let the defendant know that he could be convicted of the lesser included assault with force likely. Appeals court reversed the conviction. So I would imagine that Joe Tacopina, his team, I think Sarah, I don't know if Joe Tacopina is also licensed in California, but I know Sarah, I think she's licensed in California, the lady with the brunette hair. my guess is that they're well aware of this case law, and this is factoring into their strategy, how we're seeing this play out at the trial court, because these two cases are, in my opinion, setting the defense up to be in a very favorable position when it comes time to decide on jury charges, jury instructions. So just some food for thought there, you guys. I always think it's interesting. I will be on tomorrow. So we'll be looking at cross-examination. And the meeting tomorrow, I don't know. I might finagle that. So we'll figure that out, but I'm not going to miss cross. And technically the client that wants me to do this weekly meeting, I'm over my retainer hours for them this month anyway. So I'm going to have to call them after this and figure that one out. But we will be watching cross tomorrow. So there you go, you guys. Again, if you want to look at the case law, this was the Fugit decision summarized. This one was Pack. And again, both 2023 California cases. So there we go. Learning experience there. I don't know for sure what it'll mean and what will play out. But I just thought it was interesting. I like to read stuff like that. I don't know why. But glad you guys hung around to read that with me. And I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. Who's streaming right now? Where do you guys want to go on a trip to? Let me pull up what it'll let me redirect to. Edit video. Redirect. Oh, Rice Street, it's horrible. It's horrible. They wanted the retainer structure to be hours per month, right? Rather than like tangible deliverables. And then they keep inviting me to meetings that they say I need to be there for. So they're like probably a good 30, like a third of the time that I'm allotted. They're eating up with meetings that, sometimes I don't really think I even need to be there, but they say I need to be there. So who knows? Okay, so Peter Ortiz wants me to send you guys to Hawaii. Hold on now. Okay, there is a Hawaii live stream. You guys want to go watch Hawaii live streams? I'm going to send you to the Kalaeua. I'm going to butcher that name. Live volcano watch. So we're going to go to Hawaii, you guys. Is Flesh of the Gods live right now? Let me go back and look. I might walk back my Hawaii trip. All right, guys, Flesh of the Gods is live right now, and I am going to send us over there instead because YouTube's been playing nasty with him. So I would love to give him some support. And I really don't know if, he did a stream yesterday and his stream went down while he was streaming Relli's testimony. So I don't know if this, content ID with this stupid, scam thing is getting to him or what, but it was not fun. I felt bad for him last night. So we're actually going to go over there, you guys. Peter, maybe next time we'll go to a live watch of Hawaii. That would be really fun one day to see all of you guys in the chat. We're just pretending to be on a vacation. But until tomorrow, you guys all have a good one. See you for cross, and everybody take care. Bye, guys.